Started. Good morning. Welcome to Riverside, the Mission Inn once again, this beautiful hotel. Take a moment for you guys to silence your cell phones. It is webcast, so it will be shown that I warned you ahead of time before your cell phone quacks in the middle of the meeting like a duck. Just saying. Well, good morning. We'll call the meeting to order. This is Thursday, November 14th. We're here in Riverside. I'd like to call the meeting to order and establish a quorum and call the roll at the same time, beginning on my left this time.
Randy Phillips, RN, on direct practice nurse appointed by the governor.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Woods, appointed by the governor, and I'm a family nurse practitioner.
Hi, I'm Joe Moores. I'm the executive officer of the board.
Good morning. I'm Donna Gerber. I'm a public member, and I'm appointed by the Speaker of the Assembly.
Good morning. My name is Michael Jackson. I'm the faculty member appointed by the governor and the chair of the board.
Good morning. I'm Ann Salisbury, DCA Legal Counsel.
Good morning. Imelda Ceja-Betquitz, appointed by the governor as public member.
Good morning. Ken Marlborough, public member appointed by the Senate Rules Committee.
The roll call has been called and we have a quorum of the board. Moving on to item 2.0. Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? Please come forward, identify yourself, limit your comments to under 2 minutes because we have a full agenda for today. All right, that was a request.
Honorable Mr. Jackson, members of the board, I would like to read this because the time is limited and I would like to be sure to get in all of the points that I would like to make. My name is Dr. Della Condon and I am a retired assistant superintendent, vice president of instruction, and a committed friend of this profession. I supervised excellent nurses training programs which received commendation from the governor's office for our work in preparing highly qualified nurses. I had the opportunity to travel throughout the United States as a fellow of the American Council of Education to study educational institutions and to report to Congress what methodologies generated excellence in outcomes. I did this for an entire year, and I paid special attention to nursing programs due to their importance to our society. In every case, college presidents and vice presidents of instruction told me that the standards mandated by their boards of nursing was of the greatest assistance in maintaining their high-quality programs. The policies of these boards allowed no shortcuts. They were able to maintain small class sizes and staffing ratios because of those mandates. It was the perfect answer when the bean counters tried to impose ill-advised cost-cutting measures. All I had to say was, I'm sorry, Mr. Board members. I'm talking about my college board, but I can't do that. The Board of Nursing Education has these requirements, so it protected your profession. Maintaining your board standards sends a clear message to nursing educators to hold the line on quality teaching and quality care. This strong stance for quality nursing education by nursing faculty I found was uniform throughout the U.S. in every college I visited, sometimes to the aggravation of administrators who would have lowered the standards if they could. The Legislative Audit Committee is looking at a number of practices of the Board of Nurses as it is routine for all boards. The Audit Committee has been looking at a proposal from the for-profit entities whose passing rates beg examination. There is a proposal to lower the standards for training time in hands-on hospital skills by as much as 50%. This is, one would suppose, that it would be desired by for-profit entities to create more slots for training to increase student clinical spots and increase profit. Producing more nurses is not desirable if they are less qualified nurses. In the past, when a nursing shortage was perceived, all of us, myself included, managed to significantly meet that need without lowering any standards. Special interests have sued the Board of Nursing to force you to lower the hands-on training time. The Board of Nursing has already set a standard that is producing the best nurses on this planet. Well-trained students from a school with high standards and excellent NCLEX scores find clinical spots for their students. Substituting mannequin practice does not meet the needs for higher standards of training and care. And I just want to briefly refer to your strategic plan that stipulates that you will go forward to ensure continued improvement of services to the patient through improvement of performance of nurses in California. Your standards are doing just that. Decreasing the hands-on time in nurses training is a wrong-headed idea, and those who are behind this, be they political or private, are going to pay a high political price when the public in California realizes that there is an attack being made on the quality of nurses that are coming out of our schools. So this is not something that they can do without attracting very negative attention. I had more, but I know time is short, so I have prepared a copy of this so that you may read it yourself. I encourage you, do not allow yourself to be bullied by lawsuits. Stand firm, maintain your standards. All of California is counting on you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Do you mind giving your letter to our liaison right here, please? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Gloria Leifer. I am a retired nursing educator. I'm also an author with Elsevier Publishing, and I publish nursing textbooks. And I have in the past worked several years with the Board of Registered Nursing as a consultant for the NCLEX exams. I would like to read this as quickly as I can to give you the idea of what I'm urging the board to do and to maintain their standards. My concern that I hope will be discussed in the near future is the growing battle between private nursing schools and community college nursing schools for access to clinical sites that are vital to effective education of nurses. In a recent meeting of the BRN I attended, it was explicitly stated that private nursing schools have increased enrollment by more than 400 students per year without consulting the Board of Registered Nursing or their NECs. And the private schools have used financial incentives to hospitals for the purpose of reserving extra clinical sites needed for their students. Community college nursing programs cannot afford to offer these financial incentives to the hospitals, so vital clinical slots are becoming more difficult to find, and the community colleges are therefore forced to limit their enrollment because they cannot provide adequate clinical sites for their students to meet their educational needs. Changing curriculum by decreasing clinical hours required is not the answer. Substituting simulation for active clinical is not the answer, as we cannot replace student access to the patients with faculty supervision that enables the graduate to effectively function once they graduate. I believe NECs must monitor fair access to clinical sites for both private and public school, and private schools should not be increasing enrollment numbers without caps for the purpose of making profits from the high enrollment fees. There have been many published articles concerning ADN nursing and BSN nursing and their effect on nursing shortages and nursing education programs. Two such articles are referenced in this paper, and I have mentioned which they were. One is Goodman D., Understanding the Nursing Shortage in 2019, Implications for Future Generations of Nurses, and Herlick D., the Why, RN to BSN, Why and How from the American Nurse Today. Both publications discuss the nursing shortage, and that's because nurses are not where they need to be. It's understood that rural areas need to provide incentives for graduate nurses to attract them to sites that have a less chance of moving up in the profession less seasoned mentors available, and less job security. However, most hospitals in your community have a shortage of nurses in the clinical patient areas. Ask any person who was recently hospitalized, and they will have noticed that there is a nurse available to administer their prescribed medication, but not enough nurses to really give comprehensive care, which requires time with each patient. Patients have to wait for the nurse to be available to answer their call and their questions, and these nurses will soon burn out and leave the clinical site for other jobs. Why is there a nursing shortage in the acute care setting? Because hospitals strive to achieve magnet status and strive to meet the IOM mandate that 80 to 100% of nurses have a BSN within 5 to 10 years. So they only hire BSN nurses, so they shut out the available ADN nurses. The BSN nurse does not really want to work in the clinical units, acute care setting, as they have been prepared to be effective leaders in nursing, and they look for leadership positions upon graduation. It is the ADN nurse who wants to work in the clinical care setting and often applies for the ANCC specialties such as obstetrics, pediatrics, med-surg, and gets certification as experts in the acute care setting. So they can earn money while they continue their education to the BSN level. If we look at the goal statements of BSN schools of nursing, it clearly states that they prioritize the new role for nurses as leaders, care coordinators, faculty, informatics specialists, primary care partners, but I do not see a prominent role in the acute care, patient care setting emphasized. So it's time to understand there are differences in the goals of education for ADN and BSN programs, although we do want all nurses to eventually have their BSN. But we must approve clinical sites fairly and eliminate the practice of buying clinical sites so that NECs can maintain their authority to monitor and allot these enrollments closely. We need to have a smooth transition from the ADN to the BSN nurse practitioner that serves the public in the acute care arena as well as in various leadership roles. Please stop the current battle. We look to the BRN and the NEC to provide all student nurses with educational support they need to both private and public schools by serving the public effectively and safely.
Thank you. Will you leave your letter with her, please, with our liaison? Are there any other public comments?
Good morning, members of the Board of Nursing and the Executive Director. I am Catherine Page. I am the Dean and Director of the ADN program at Rio Hondo College. I come to you with two issues. First, to say thank you. I appreciate your efforts on the behalf of all the community colleges in following your own mandate in making sure that programs that wish to increase their enrollment are able to prove that they can provide the education required to have those nurses be safe nurses. This has lessened the strain on the educational resources, especially in the Los Angeles area, where we have a lot of nursing programs that do wish to increase their enrollment. The second is that I'm requesting your assistance. In the Los Angeles area, we have a group of schools called the Regional Nursing Curriculum Consortium that is working to standardize the ADN curriculum so that way students can progress more easily through an ADN program into a BSN program, hopefully to develop concurrent enrollment with BSN programs. Part of our charge is to assist these students so that way we can have these concurrent enrollments. We are all very interested in the concurrent enrollment that Riverside has developed with CSU San Bernardino and CSU Fullerton. At the October 2019 COADN CACN joint meeting, this concurrent enrollment program was presented. The CSUs that participated in that presentation indicated that the CSU was not willing to share the MOU regarding financial aid because they regard this program as a pilot program. We have been unable to get that information from the CSUs. So if you have an opportunity to discuss with the CSU the potential to share that MOU with the community colleges, we would appreciate that assistance.
The
Thank you.
CSU,
California State University System.
it's a public institution?
Yes, it
The
is.
documents that they have should be public.
I agree, but they are unwilling to share that MOU because they regard the program as a pilot program.
Still a public institution. Maybe you can do a, what is the request for public records?
Public Records Act request.
Public Records Act request.
Okay, thank you.
It's public. If they want to go down that route, there's something for you to think about.
We will try that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Sandy Baker, Dean of the Riverside City College School of Nursing, and welcome to Riverside. I just wanted to start off by thanking the board for maintaining their standards. I noted in the recent report from NCSBN that California has the highest NCLEX pass rates in the nation, and I believe that is in no small part due to the rules and regulations of the Board of Registered Nursing. Here at Riverside, our latest pass rate is over 96%, and so we believe that that's because of our high-quality curriculum, our high-quality faculty, and our high-quality program, and those are regulated by the Board of Registered Nursing in California, so I wanted to point that out and thank you all on the board for the work that you're doing on behalf of nursing education. I did want to provide an update on our concurrent enrollment program. Some of you might not have been here when I presented this to the board a year and a half, I'm not sure when it was, but we did start our program, our concurrent enrollment pathway program. This is a program that is modeled after other states' programs. Oregon, Arizona, Washington, Nevada are just a few examples of states that have adopted this pathway statewide throughout their public education systems. And what that program is that we cut our units to, of course, allowable levels, according to the Board of Nursing, and the students in our program take 9 units with RCC. Concurrently, they take 3 units with the CSU, so a total of 12 units per semester. They do receive their financial aid through the CSU, which is sufficient to cover tuition and costs for both programs. In terms of the MOU that Catherine just referenced, that MOU came from Maricopa Nursing, and they are very free with giving it out, and so in fact, all the information could easily be obtained that way. That was what it was modeled after in our program. I want to say that we enrolled 40 students. We enroll 80 students, and so 50% of them were enrolled in the fall in the CEP program, and that is with CSU Fullerton. They are coming on site currently in the spring. We will have 40 with CSU San Bernardino, and there may be some on site, and it might be a hybrid mixture. So in Arizona, most of it's done completely online, and that might be a model that we get to, but the first time that they wanted to do it face-to-face. And so in looking at our spring applications, now that the program is gaining more attention and the students are more aware of it, we are finding that we have over 70 more applicants for the CEP in the spring than we did in the fall. So we have almost 300 applicants for 40 spots for the CEP for the spring. And that's really good, because what that means is that all those students have taken all the general eds and prerequisite courses that are required in the CSU. So they're ready to transfer into our CEP program, but they're also completely prepared to transfer into any other nursing program, including any baccalaureate program. So it's a win-win for the student. Even if they're unable to get into ours, it opens them up into getting to other programs. They're better educated, well-prepared pre-nursing students. And so that's really all that I wanted to say. Other than that, I hope that the BRN will do anything it can to encourage the proliferation of this type of an educational model. I do believe it's directly related to the clinical displacement issue. I believe that if we saw a shift in the state towards more concurrent enrollment programs, bearing in mind that associate degree programs are the bulk of the nursing programs that are in the state of California, if in fact they were all participating in a CEP model with public and private universities, then those universities could put their efforts towards those types of models, which would ultimately decrease, I think, the frenzy for clinical placement spaces. At Riverside, we did lose one space this last semester. We were able to fill it at another institution, but it has become, more of an issue, certainly a bigger issue in the LA and Orange County areas, as I know the board is aware. So I think that this concurrent enrollment pathway is something other states have used to increase the education level of their nurses, as well as I think it would help to ameliorate some of these problems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can do that. At this time, we're going to reorder the agenda. Items 6.0, we'll put that at the end of the agenda. Moving on to item 7.0, report of the Education Licensing Committee.
Good morning, Mary Ann McCarthy, Nursing Education Consultant, Liaison to the Education and Licensing Committee. Item number 7.1. Recommend ratification of minor curriculum revision and acknowledge receipt of program progress reports. According to board policy, nursing education consultants may approve minor curriculum changes that do not significantly alter philosophy, objectives, or content. Approvals must be reported to the Education Licensing Committee and to the board. Minor curriculum revisions include the following categories: curriculum changes, work-study programs, preceptor programs, public health nurse certificate programs, progress reports that are not related to continuing approval, and approval of nurse practitioner programs adding a category of specialization. The following programs have submitted minor curriculum revisions that have been approved by the NECs.
Item 7.1, I make a recommendation that we accept.
Second.
Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the question beginning on the right. For the vote, sorry.
Ken Marlboro votes yes.
Imelda Seha Budkowitz votes yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trendy Phillips, yes.
All right, going back, we're going to reorder the agenda. Items 3.0. I need a review and vote on whether to approve the minutes from item 3.1, 3.2.
Okay.
I'll move approval of the minutes.
Second it. Public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro votes yes.
Imelda Seha Budkowitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trendy Phillips, yes.
Item 4.0, discuss board member activities. We're going to do 5 at the end, too. Board member activities. Seeing no board member activities, item 5.0, we'll also move that agenda item to the end. 7.2.
7.2, approve Education and Licensing Committee recommendations. The Education Licensing Committee met on October 17, 2019, and makes the following recommendations. 7.2.1, recommend ratification of application for pre-licensure program continuing reapproval for Chamberlain College Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program and De Anza College Associate Degree Nursing Program.
Item 7.0, make a recommendation that we accept. This is from the Education Licensing Committee.
Second.
Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Ken Marlborough votes yes.
Imelda Seha Bedgoetz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trendy Phillips, yes.
Item number 7.2.2, recommend ratification of pre-licensure program unit adjustment or changes for National University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program.
Recommendation from the committee was to accept, so I make a recommendation that the board accepts also.
I will second that.
Public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote beginning on the right.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Seha Bedgoetz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trendy Phillips, yes.
Item 7.3,
7.3, acceptance of changes to an approved program, addition of a new campus or location for the Marcia First School of Nursing, San Diego, Associate Degree Nursing Program, presented by Carol Vellis, Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning. Sorry about that. Dr. Carol Vellis, I'm a nursing education consultant from the Southern Region. And this is a little bit of background. Let me give you a little bit of background. The board approved the Marcia First School of Nursing, San Diego, Associate Degree Nursing Program at its August meeting with an enrollment of 30 students 3 times a year with an annual enrollment of 90 students. It was later noticed that at the April 11th, 2019 board meeting, Brandman University was approved as a new program with an enrollment pattern of 24 students 3 times per year for an annual enrollment of 72 students. At that time, as I recollect, Brandman was approved because Brightwood College, who was under a teach-up plan at the time, had 150 spaces in San Diego, and as you know, San Diego is terribly impacted. And so Brandman University was approved with those 72 units. To keep consistent with the 150 spaces in San Diego, Marcia First School of Nursing was approved, but then later noticed that their approval would cause an over amount of students, over enrollment in that area. So at that point, the Marcia First School of Nursing did agree to decrease their enrollment, so that we would continue with this 150 slots, if you will, in San Diego. And so I'm bringing this to the board today for a action change, I guess we could call it, so that Marcia First School of Nursing would now have an enrollment of 24 students 3 times a year for an annual enrollment of,
we can't address that. It's not on there.
excuse me just one second.
Yeah. Right? We can't. Because it's not on.
So the School of Nursing, Marcia First School of Nursing has accepted the decrease in enrollment from 30 students 3 times a year to 26 students 3 times a year for an annual enrollment of 78. So 78 and 72 is 150.
Okay.
So that's what our business is here today.
Are there any questions from the committee? None? I make a recommendation we accept.
Second.
Public comment? This is not public comment if they represent the school, right?
Yeah, but if I can introduce, to my right is Mitchell First, who is the owner and sole proprietor of the Marcia First School of Nursing, and to his right is Mr. Baylor.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the board. Yeah, we came up for clarification. Since the April meeting, we have received a letter with the approval of the 90 annual enrollment at 3 times 30. And we understand that the total enrollment at Brightwood was actually more than 150. So we wanted clarification, respectfully so, from the board as to why this motion occurred after the vote on record. And if the board has evaluated the total number of slots that Brightwood vacated.
We haven't voted yet.
Okay. So those are the clarifying questions we want.
So if I could explain the reason why you got the action letter, is the process with the board is that after a board meeting and action, there are board action letters that are sent to the schools. So the board action letter at that particular board meeting was the 33 times a year for a total of 90. So since, dependent on the action today, you will get another board action letter probably in December that will explain that your enrollment was dropped. As far as the enrollment for Brightwood, my understanding was that in the process of the Brightwood teach out and Brandman's process of a new program, the total number was always 150. So I did not go back and look at that. I didn't feel there was a need to because that was in our notes, and I'm sorry that Lori isn't here, who is the NEC for Brandman, but that was what we were told, was that there were 150 positions or slots.
Hi, good morning. That wasn't, our understanding was that the Brightwood slots were over that 150. We believe that was 180 students, pardon me, for Brightwood. And so we were, again, confused because after the board voted, which we were very happy about, a 7-0 to allow us to admit, then we have this letter that says 3 times 30, which is what the motion or the vote was in the last meeting. And so we're driving, we're admitting towards that story of our first class of 30 students. And so we're confused by this change. And obviously we've already demonstrated, to the board that we have enough clinical slots to support that enrollment pattern of 3 times 30.
I think we should table this discussion for the ELC because this wasn't a part of the agenda. It wasn't listed on the agenda as a part of the discussion. The next ELC, we should table it until then. Which is January.
And in the meantime, I'll go back and review all of the Brightwood records to see exactly what their enrollment was.
I withdraw my previous motion, and my motion now is to table this until January's ELC.
I'll second that.
Public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Seha Batkowitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trendy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7.4, recommend acceptance of program progress reports from nursing, pre-licensure nursing programs. 7.4.1, American University of Health Sciences Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program presented by Bhadra Caraway, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Dr. Manuel Atienza. I'm the newly appointed Dean of School of Nursing at the American University of Health Sciences.
Good morning. My name is Bhadra Caraway. I'm Supervising Nursing Education Consultant with the Board of Registered Nursing. To my right is Dr. Heather Sands. She's going to be the new NEC for the American University of Health Sciences. And I think Dr. Atienza already introduced himself, and he can introduce his guest.
On my right is our Associate Dean. He's Professor Sue Morrison.
Thank you. Hello. Just a brief review. On March 24, 2017, Dr. Dial was appointed as the Dean of School of Nursing, and on July 19, 2018, she submitted a major curriculum revision for the increased enrollment, which was returned to her due to some of the concerns that have been identified. On September 6, 2018, Dr. Judith McLeod was appointed as the Dean of the School of Nursing and Nursing Program. She also submitted the same major curriculum revision for increased enrollment, but yet still those areas of concern has not been resolved, so therefore it has been returned back to her. I'm going to just go over the areas of concern that right now Dr. Atienza is going to address that. The first one was the high turnover rate of the Dean and Program Director and the instability in administration of the nursing program and lack of mentoring and succession plan for the assistant director. The program since from 2014 to 2019 had a total of 4 dean and directors of nursing program, which most of them, they were resigned from their positions. The second was the student completion of their program. The students have complained, and the allegation was relevant to a school withholding their transcript, and they didn't submit their transcript on timely manner to the licensing program, to the licensing department of BRN. And this complaint have been going on in 2017 and 2019. So we wanted to get the result and resolution for that complaint. The next one was insufficiency of the resources for the current enrollment of the students on the program, which also could be projected in increased enrollment. It was in terms of their classroom. Some of the students had to stand up in the back of the room because they didn't have sufficient spaces for them. Also, vacancy among the faculty was a lot. Faculty offices, skills and simulation lab, all of those, they were not really sufficient for the resources at the present time. This also, and the fourth area, they were asking for the new NP program for the program. So they have not had received yet CCNE approval. That was also maintained and remained, resubmitted back. On June 24, 2019, Dr. Sands and myself, we visited and conducted a site visit for the program. And we brought all of the above areas of concern to the attention of the administration team. At that time, Dr. Judith McLeod was the dean and director of the program. Dr. Marilyn Overo, Dr. Carol Ryan, and Dr. Atienza, they were all present, and also Mrs. Morrison, who was at the time interim director. And since that time, there have been some progress made. Dr. Atienza was approved as the new program director. And the progress report showed that they have made changes. They have also started the renovation of their 3rd floor, which include the classroom, faculty offices, simulation lab, and skills lab. But renovation is still in progress. It has not been completed. They have hired some faculty, 1 faculty full-time and 6 part-time faculty. The rest of the progress have been submitted to you. So we are still withholding the increased enrollment, and we are keeping monitoring to see the progress and to see what's the, in terms of the completion of the renovation. And another site visit will be conducted by Dr. Heather Sands, and she will be providing you with the full progress upon that time. We are waiting for the completion of the renovation of those classroom, offices, and simulation lab and a skills lab. I think in terms of the faculty and in terms of the now succession plan for the assistant director, and the plan is in progress. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Just a couple questions. So does this program have students enrolled now?
Yes, they have.
But does this also say that they also, in addition, want to initiate a process for starting a new
NP program?
Master's FNP program?
That's correct.
Have they submitted
They have to receive the CCNE first, and they initiated that process for CCNE approval. And after they get that accreditation, then they can request for the NP approval from the board.
But am I understanding correctly that the existing pre-licensure program has these deficits that you've described, and they've not, and since 2017, they've not actually been able to resolve these issues? They've made minor progress since, let's say, June of this year, but so in the midst of not being able to resolve those issues on that program, they're submitting a request to start a new program as well?
The whole issue, first, that's the baccalaureate degree nursing program. They requested increased enrollment, which we did not. I just returned it because of those concerns. That's for the baccalaureate degree nursing program. But for the MSN NP program, they requested the approval. We just, as I mentioned, it was also returned because they have to obtain the CCNE accreditation before we even process for that program.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted
You're
to
welcome.
make sure I understood what the situation is.
And this is an acceptance of a progress report?
That's correct.
All right. I'll make a recommendation, we accept the progress report with the NECs, that understanding that they will need to continue monitoring.
They are submitting quarterly report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Public comment? No public comment. Call for the vote on the right.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Seha Bedgood, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Anna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trendy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7.4.2, recommend acceptance of program progress report for pre-licensure nursing program, Compton College, Associate Degree Nursing Program, presented by Donna Schutte, Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Donna Schutte. I'm the Nursing Education Consultant from the Southern Region. And with me today are representatives from Compton College, and I'll have them introduce themselves, and beginning with the person on my right.
Keith Curry, President, CEO, Compton College.
Good morning. Zenaida Mitu, Interim Director of Nursing.
Dr. Shirley Thomas, Assistant Director, Nursing Faculty.
I have some pertinent background information for you. On May 9th, 2019, the board approved the separation of El Camino Compton Education Center from El Camino College, which was consistent with Compton College to become the 114th community college in California. At that time, an action plan to address ongoing areas of concern was approved, along with submission of quarterly reports. The official date of separation was June 7th, 2019. Official program name change to Compton College was approved as a minor curriculum revision on August 13th, 2019. The quarterly report summary. The first quarterly report was submitted September 19th, 2019. See Attachment 1. As requested by Dr. Keith Curry, Compton College President and CEO, monthly conference calls are being conducted. Compton College administrative team and the nursing administrative team are participating along with Supervising NEC, Bhadra, Caraway, and myself. There are 4 areas on the report. Number 1, CCR 1424 A through H, Administration and Organization of the Nursing Program. Professor Zenaida Mitu was appointed Acting Associate Dean, Program Director, August 31st, with the resignation of Dr. Janet Baghumian. The college is hiring for an interim Associate Dean, Program Director, with an appointment date of January 1st, 2020, which coincides with Dean Mitu's retirement. A permanent Associate Dean, Program Director with an appointment date of July 1st, 2020 is to follow. The administrative team is aware of the need for stability in the administration of the nursing program. Over the next 6 months, the administrative teams will focus on infrastructure of the program with development in the areas of nursing leadership, implementation of the total program evaluation plan, committee processes and communications, implementation of the newly approved concept-based curriculum, and student success strategies. Second area, CCR 1425 A through D, Program Administration and Faculty Qualifications. The action plan for full-time faculty hiring is being followed. 2 full-time faculty hired for fall 2019, and 2 are planned to be hired for spring, September 2020. The college is seeking district approval for the following job descriptions: Assistant Director, Skills Lab Coordinator, Simulation Lab Coordinator, and Student Success Coordinator. Currently, adjunct faculty are assigned to these roles. The third area is CCR 1431 NCLEX pass rates. For the 4th quarter, the pass rate dipped to 63.47%, 7 of 11 graduates passing. However, the 2018-2019 overall pass rate was 89.71%, with 61 out of 68 graduates passing. For the 1st quarter, 2019-2020, the pass rate is 97%, with 33 of 34 graduates passing. All action plan recommendations for NCLEX success are being implemented. The 4th area, CCR 1426 AB, required curriculum. The newly board-approved concept-based curriculum is being implemented now in the 1st semester. Lippincott Resources are guiding faculty implementation. All full-time faculty are to receive 20% reassigned time for participation in individualized professional development activities. 6 adjunct faculty are approved to receive 15% reassigned time for individualized professional development activities. And that ends my summary.
Thank you.
I would like to congratulate you on the improvement in the NCLEX scores. That's impressive, and we appreciate that.
Don, if I may echo not only the improvement in the pass rate, just Dr. Curry's involvement and the administration and the faculty and leadership involved. I mean, I think, to my knowledge, since I've been as the executive officer of the board, he's perhaps the only president of a academic institution that's been regularly involved, with the NECs and just hands-on, and with the progress, if I'm correct.
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, so thank you for your leadership, and it shows not only in NCLEX pass rates, but also just mentioning the changes that are coming down the pike, as mentioned in your report. So thank you. Thank you all for the tremendous work you're doing at Compton College.
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, just want to make a couple brief comments. One of the things that it's very important for us as we transition from El Camino Community College District to have a strong nursing program. And from my perspective, how we're going to be strong is making sure that we have a strong infrastructure. And so the Board of Trustees for Compton Community College District are very supportive of this. Not only are we providing you with the report quarterly, we also have a monthly board item regards to update on the nursing program. And at this next board meeting on Tuesday, they're going to have a discussion item regards to nursing. And so we're engaging the Board of Trustees to ensure that everyone understands this is a high priority for Compton College. And so the Board of Trustees are very aware of what's going on. They'll receive an email today regards to today's meeting, but they're also going to be discussing the nursing program during their open session regards to the progress that we're making. And to me, that's important because regardless of the individuals who work at the institution, it has to be a priority of the college and directed by the Board of Trustees. And this only way that we can be successful is that the whole college, including the board, has to be supportive of our program. The second thing I want to say is the faculty and the staff has done a tremendous job. I do want to say thank you to Associate Dean Mitu for taking on the role this semester as Associate Dean, and then also Dr. Thomas for being involved. I will tell you, I'm a college president, but I have not been involved in day-to-day operations of nursing, and now my hands are all involved because I'm learning a lot. And if you know regards to prerequisites, if you don't have a nursing program, you're going to lose students from your prerequisites. Our number one major at Compton College is nursing. Even though the students don't apply to our nursing program, on their college application, the number one is nursing. So we have to make sure that we have a strong nursing program, but also that we focus in on what we're doing with our prerequisites. And as we move forward, the next phase of our plan and our action is to look at professional development for faculty outside of our nursing department, because we have students who are going through that pipeline who are interested in nursing. We have to make sure there's a connection to our nursing program. And we'll be working on that over the next year.
So let me ask you a question. Do you have any other allied health professions at the school?
Not right now, and that's a good thing because we need to focus in on our nursing program. After that, we're looking at expansion through our Compton 2024 plan, looks at the LVN and also CNA programs being offered. But right now, we need to focus in on the issue at hand.
No, I was asking maybe paramedic EMT programs and things of that nature.
The goal is to, at some point, have a fire tech program, but I pushed that to the side because we have to focus in on nursing.
So what I'm getting at is, when you do decide to have these programs, and you say, hey, I'm going to have a dean over these programs, are you going to go choose some science guy who has no clue about what nursing is and what nursing does? Because this is what these community colleges do. I see it time and time. I've been here almost 8 years. And I see it time and time again. Colleges come forward, deans come forward that have no clue about what goes on in nursing, but they have a science degree or a PhD. I can guarantee you this with 100% certainty. You can go to any hospital in the state right now, and guess who's in charge of the entire hospital at any given time?
A nurse.
It's required.
Yeah.
It's called a house supervisor, and guess what it is? It's a nurse. They're in charge of these programs and these allied health. This is your opportunity going to the future, right? Because this is a brand new school. I like to see when your school comes back, you're like, hey, this is the dean over allied health. Hopefully it'll be a nurse. Since you just said yourself that how important these prerequisites are, because the nursing program these prerequisites feed into the nursing program.
You don't have to worry about having allies, right? So I think the key as we move forward, not to be philosophical about this, but the key as we move forward is how do we engage other California community college presidents in these types of conversations in regards to our nursing program?
Dr. Curry, let me answer that. First of all, I on board. What you don't know, I've met with Dr. Curry on several occasions. I've even driven from San Diego to drive up to Compton to leave one meeting to meet with Dr. Curry to talk about the engagement of other campus executive leaders and such. And since then, I met with members of the RNCC committee that was mentioned earlier, the Regional Nursing Clinical Consortium. curriculum. And I brought this matter to the table, that it's important to get other campus leaderships involved. I also met with the campus leadership at
Dr. Morris,
Los Angeles and so forth. So my point being, just to piggyback, you're right. We need to get more campus leaderships involved, and that's definitely on my agenda to bring them to the table so they are aware.
Thank you.
Mike, can I make a comment?
Yes.
I'm not an RN, but I'm a big fan of RNs, but I am a retired deputy fire chief, so I like your idea about a fire technology portion in your school. It needs it. Thank you.
I make a recommendation, we accept the progress report.
Second.
Public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Ken Marlborough votes yes.
Imelda Seha Badgwitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 7.5, recommend to defer continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing program Pacific College Associate Degree Nursing Program, submit monthly progress reports to the NEC, report as minor curriculum changes, and return to the ELC in January 2020 and the board in February 2020. Presented by Carol Vellis, Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning again. To my right is Mr. Trump. And next to Mr. Trump is Dr. Judith McLeod, and next to Dr. McLeod is Jeannie Brown, who is the Assistant Director, and Dr. McLeod is the Program Director. So just a historical perspective for everyone. At the October ELC meeting, I reported that Pacific College was approved as a new pre-licensure program on April 11th, 2019 for a fall, October, and spring enrollment of 45 students with an annual enrollment of 90 students. Pacific College is accredited by the Western Association of Schools, Senior College, and University Commission as a degree-granting institution of higher education. Prior to Friday, September 20th, the previous program director, Bobby Ann Murphy, reported the admission process was moving slowly and she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to get the 45 students for the October start date. Prior to that conversation, it was brought to my attention that the program was identified by the Federal Student Aid Commission website as being on warning with a heightened cash monitoring 2 status. The Federal Student Aid website defines heightened cash monitoring 2 status as a school who no longer receives financial aid funds under the advanced payment method and must make distributions to students from its own institutional funds, followed by a reimbursement payment request to the Department of Education. In July, and in speaking with Miss Murphy about this, she stated that she was not aware of the status by the Department of Ed, and that the heightened cash monitoring 2 was not included in the feasibility study or the self-study during the initial approval process. During this conversation, I asked Ms. Murphy if she thought that this status was impacting her ability to get a full cohort admitted by October, and she reported that she didn't think that that was an issue at the time. After that, there were several conversations continued over the next 2 days, and one that included the administration of the program, which included Mr. Trump, Jeannie Brown, Ms. Wu, who is the president of the college, and it was followed up by issues of noncompliance that I felt I saw and assessed through the different conversations I had. So some of the concerns I had, and they're listed for you, but I wanted to go over them to just make sure everybody's on the right page. There was not full disclosure of the financial status of the ADN program during the process of the new program application period. The WASC accreditation status and time frame, including approval by the Bureau of Post-Secondary Education and any other accreditation, was still needed so that the ADN program could start. There was financial aid status and time frame, including the ability to provide Title IV funding, and that had to do with the heightened cash monitoring 2 status. The action plan with a time frame to come off the HCM 2 status and come into compliance with the Department of Education. the plan and timeframe for the first 45 student cohort admission to the board-approved program using the board-approved curriculum. There were some faculty hiring delays that I was concerned about, as well as full disclosure of any programmatic, administrative, or program leadership changes. The recommendation at the October ELC meeting was to recommend deferring continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing program at Pacific College, associate degree nursing program, with monthly program reports to the NEC that would be reported as a minor curriculum progress report unless there was an issue, and then it would be brought to the board. So since the October meeting, I wanted to really concentrate on the accomplishments that this school has made. I received the first comprehensive report by Dr. McLeod on November 6th. I did not include it in the packet because the packet was already published, but I do have that if you'd like to see it. Full financial disclosure is included in Attachment 1, and the school has a healthy financial base. Pacific College has received WAST accreditation, which is in Attachment 4, and as of yesterday, they've also been approved by the Bureau of Post-Secondary Education, as well as full Title IV funding for students in the ADN program. That part, I understand, is still pending? Yes.
Good morning. The financial aid is up and ready to go as we anticipate a start for February 2020.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, the first 45 student cohort will start February 24th, 2020. Currently, there are 26 students. Oh, excuse me, let me go back. The heightened cash monitoring 2 status has been completely removed, and Pacific College is in full compliance with Federal Aid Commission. The first 45 student cohort will start in February 24th, 2020. Currently, there are 26 students who have been admitted to the program. Of these 26, 21 were also admitted into their ADN BSN pathway. Pacific College continues to review applications and interview students who meet the admission criteria, and they have a pretty rigorous admission criteria. Pacific College has hired a total of 8 faculty, of which 2 are full-time and will cover Med-Surg, Fundamentals, and OB. They've also hired 5 part-time faculty who will cover the clinicals for Fundamentals, all series of the Med-Surg courses, OB, and Pediatrics. They've also hired 1 full-time faculty for the Skills Lab and 1 full-time clinical coordinator. The hiring plan, which is also in Attachment 1, continues with the search for full-time faculty for psych mental health, a student success, NCLEX coordinator, and more part-time faculty for clinicals. Clinical facilities currently under the contract have been informed of the delay in the projected start date of October, and now they know that the program will start in February. All facilities have confirmed the ability to accommodate the ADN students with the change in the start date. Dr. McLeod has reviewed the current BRN approved curriculum and has added ATI for supplemental instruction, also Safe Medicate for medication administration supplemental instruction, and Shadow Health to support the clinical experience. And I actually went into the websites to look at all of these. I knew ATI, but the other 2 I didn't, and it's great support. There has been weekly meetings held between Dr. McLeod and Jeannie Brown, her assistant director, as well as between the college administrator and program team. Pacific College has kept me fully aware of all programmatic or administrative changes. I do believe the program has recognized and carefully thought of the concerns I've had and brought everything back into compliance that is questionable. And I do see the strength in the leadership of Dr. McLeod. That concludes my report.
Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, I make a recommendation that we
If I can remind you, this is a brand-new program, and so we are deferring their approval. I feel confident and strongly with the leadership of Dr. McLeod that this program will continue and be a very vital program in that area.
Here, I can ask a question in regard to that. So I understand that originally it was going to be October, then there were these issues, now it's going to be February. We have an ELC meeting in January.
In March.
No,
you have one in January.
We have a ELC meeting in January and then a board meeting in February. And they would be starting in February.
Their program won't be open until February, so.
Can we just come?
can we just come back in March to the ELC?
The problem is that we have our program slated to start on February 24th, and we have prepared all of our information and are interviewing our students with the idea that we were going to be starting in February. We have all of our supplies, all of our uniforms, everything slated for a February start. And we have a very vigorous program ready to go forward. So we would like to be approved to be able to start in February, like we have told all of our students we will be doing.
How many students?
We have 26 at present. We have approximately probably 40 students that are in prerequisites that will be ready to be interviewed in January for our program for acceptance for a February start or to start in our second cohort, which is slated to start in August. So we would like the ability to start our program in February as we have been planning.
I just wanted to add that historically, we don't stop programs from continuing when we put them on deferred program approval. So I believe you could still continue to admit your students and start your program.
Yeah, that is the plan. The plan is we will continue to give the monthly reports and do the hiring and admit the students. Then we will come back to the ELC with a report so you can see our progress, and with board approval in February, so we will be starting in February as planned.
What I'm trying to figure out is the proper motion for that comports with our scheduling.
I don't think we've had historically that I know of a situation like this where we've had to bring a program back prior to them starting. But like I said, historically we have allowed programs to continue. So Dr. McLeod, you would still be able to continue your program in February, but your progress reports would be reported in January at the ELC meeting. And at that point, the board could decide whether they wanted to continue on this deferred action or provide approval at that point.
I make a recommendation that we accept the recommended action from the ELC.
Thank you.
Which is deferred, continuing approval. And then they can still start their program in February, correct?
Yes.
And then they can come back to the ELC in March.
So then you don't want them to come back in January?
No.
Okay. So we'll bring them back in March.
Start their program.
Sure.
And then they can come back in March. If everything goes according to plan, then the ELC can vote then.
That's different from the recommendation that's on the agenda.
So then your recommendation would be changed to return to the March ELC and board in April.
January. She would like January.
Okay.
So your motion is to?
Motion is to.
Motion is this.
Accept the recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, the recommendation that we have before us is that
And they
we
can
would
still open
defer.
the program.
So that you're accepting the recommendation?
Yes.
So we will come back to the ELC in
January.
We will continue with our monthly reports, come back to the ELC in January.
And then come back to the board meeting in February.
Plan on the board meeting in February with the idea that our board meeting is the 20th and our program starts the following Monday.
Is there a second?
Second.
That is acceptable. We are more than happy to do that.
Are there any public comments? Seeing no public comments, call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro votes yes.
Imelda Seha Bedgood votes yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 7.6, recommend to change continuing approval of Pre-Licensure Nursing Program, Career Care Institute, Associate Degree Nursing Program, to place the program on morning status with intent to close the program, monthly progress reports to the NEC, and return to the ELC in 1 year, which is October of 2020. Presented by Donna Schutte, Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning. I'm Donna Schutte, nursing education consultant, Southern Region, and with me today are representatives from CCI, and I will have them introduce themselves to you.
Dr. Corrine Stevens, Interim Director.
Dr. Kim Gore, Assistant Program Director. Evelyn Oriana, Campus President.
Background information. Career Care Institute, CCI, Associate Degree Nursing Program was approved by the BRN on September 7th, 2017, with an enrollment of 32 students annually. 16 students, 5 generic and 11 LVN advanced placements were admitted into Cohort 1 due to limited time in securing Title IV funding at the start of the program. Cohort 1 students completed the program October of this year. There are currently 30 students enrolled in Cohort 2 and 32 newly enrolled in October Cohort 3 students, for a total of 62 students currently in the program. CCI is privately owned. It was established in 1998 and incorporated in 2001. Dr. Edmund Carrasco is Chief Executive Officer and sole proprietor. The main campus and ADN program are located in Lancaster. It offers 4 health-related programs. The ADN program is the only degree-granting program. The ADN program is approved by the Bureau of Post-Secondary Education and is accredited by the Council of Occupational Education. On August 17, 2018, CCI received formal approval for Title IV funding from the Department of Education. In February 2018, CCI administrators were brought before the board because of a second set of CCI program director and assistant director resignations. CCI provided monthly progress reports for March and April that focused on the progress of students in the program, a hiring plan for director, assistant director, and faculty, remediation and skills workshop development, and 2018 admission processes. At the request of the board, a teach-out plan was developed in the event the school could not maintain its approval. On August 9, 2019, the 5th program director resigned from the ADN program. Having had 5 different program directors and assistant directors over the past 2 years, there were major concerns about the stability of the ADN program relevant to its administration. A planned September school visit to meet with Cohort 1 students was moved up to Monday, August 19, 2019. Bhadra, Caraway, Supervising NEC, and I conducted a site visit and met with all 16 October graduating students, Cohort 1, 12 of the 30 Cohort 2 students, 7 faculty, 2 full-time and 5 part-time, and Student Services Director Nikki McFarland, Financial Aid Director Juan Eason, and the Student Career Counselor Martha Hong. 13 areas of noncompliance were identified and discussed with Dr. Kim Gore Amador, Interim Program Director, Evelyn Orellana, President CAO, and Carol Dykehouse, Dean of Academics. Please see Attachment 1, Report of Findings. On August 29, 2019, the program submitted a written response to the identified areas of noncompliance and an addendum on September 11, 2019, which were included in Attachment 2. Attachment 3 includes CCI's exhibits. You do not have copies of all exhibits, as some included many pages. There is a summary of exhibits and their location at the beginning of Attachment 3, and those not included in Attachment 3 are available for review in this binder today. Areas of compliance, the progress to date. There are several that have been remedied, and so I'm going to start with those. Number 4 and 5, CCR 1424B2 and 1424C, Administration and Organization of the Nursing Program. The grievance policy and chain of command is in place. Financial aid student issues are addressed. And I did forget to state that there are 7 regulations that have been brought into compliance. Okay. The next, which is the third, is number 9, CCR section 1424D, resources. An additional contracted clinical facility has been approved for pediatrics and med-surg. Additional sites are being sought. Rotating clinical schedules ensure students with equitable med-surg learning opportunities, air conditioning and drinking fountains functional. Number 10, CCR Section 1426D, required curriculum. The ATI policy is being followed as developed and with signed student acknowledgement forms in place. Number 11, CCR Section 1427 A and C, clinical facilities. Clinical facilities are BRN approved. Faculty and students are receiving orientation at the identified clinical facility. Contractual obligations are being met. Number 12, CCR Section 1429B, LVN 30-unit option. Information regarding the LVN 30-unit option is available on the CCI nursing website, along with the limitations on licensure information. CCR 13, CCR Section 1430, previous education credit. The policy reviewed with cohort 2 LVN students, cohort 3 students have been updated on the policy and have signed acknowledgement forms. Okay, there are 6 remaining areas of noncompliance, but there is action being taken. Number 1, CCR Section 1424E and 1424J, administration and organization of the nursing program. High turnover rate of program director and assistant director positions. Dr. Corrine Stevens has been hired as program director with a 1-year appointment to resolve program deficiencies and facilitate role development of the current assistant director. Dr. Stevens served in 2018 for 6 months remedying program deficiencies related to the second set of resignations of the program director and assistant director. Exhibit A outlines the areas of the planned 90-day training, orientation, mentoring program for the assistant director that has been initiated. Succession, hiring, and retention plans are in development. Number 2, CCR Section 1424D, sufficiency of resources, and 1425.1 curriculum. High turnover rate of faculty. Faculty hiring is occurring. New faculty orientation in place with mentors assigned. 3 new part-time were hired. All cohort 1 students have met course clinical requirements before their graduation. A policy addressing both theory and clinical instructor absences and tardiness has been developed, and they are in Exhibits B and C. All missed theory and clinical hours, along with reasons, are being monitored. A faculty retention program is in development. Number 3, Section 1424B1, Total Program Evaluation. End of program evaluation to include results of student surveys, final exams, grades, skills, competencies, as well as ATI proctored exam scores not yet undertaken, but their TPE is being developed. Number 6, CCR Section 1425.1B and 1424J, faculty responsibility. All faculty and clinical facilities are BRN approved, but the role responsibilities of the lead instructors and the contact experts are currently being delineated. Okay. Number 7, CCR Section 1424G, faculty responsibility. Plan for course faculty communication throughout the semester is under development, along with structure, function, and schedules for all program committees. And number 8, CCR Section 1428, student participation. Student participation in the curriculum meeting has been initiated, but areas for additional student participation in the program are being identified. And that's the end of my report.
Are there any questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move the recommended action by the ELC.
Second it. Are there any public comments? Seeing no public comments from the school.
Good morning, board members. I would like to ask if you would consider deferring action until the next board meeting, allowing us a few more weeks to continue to demonstrate progress on the areas that have been worked on and require ongoing collaboration. I believe our NEC can attest to the fact that we've been working together and hard with both administration faculty, and we've made huge progress in the areas that are still in non-compliant, but it's just a matter of the board allowing us more time to show more progress.
Let me ask a question of our staff. If the board adopts the recommendation that's on the agenda for today, and in the meantime, let's say by January or February, the school brings all of the things into compliance, we can then take an additional action, correct?
In January.
So either at the January ELC or at the February board meeting, we could take a different action.
So in that case, I would recommend that you amend your motion to accept the recommendation with the change that the return to ELC is in January.
Okay. Then I will move that.
And I second it.
And with monthly progress reports?
With monthly progress reports, yes.
Are there any public comments? Seeing no public comments, I call for the vote.
Ken Marrow, yes.
Imelda Ceja Bedquez, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trendy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 7.7. Recommend to change continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing program, East Los Angeles College Associate Degree Nursing Program, to place the program on warning status for 1 year with the intent to close the program. Monthly progress reports to the NEC presented at all ELC meetings during the period of warning status, which is until October 2020. The college shall conduct a comprehensive program assessment to identify variables contributing to the substandard pass rate and shall submit a written report to the board. The report shall include the findings of the assessment and a plan for increasing the pass rate, including specific corrective measures to be taken, resources, and a timeline. I am the nursing education consultant for this program, Mary Ann McCarthy, and I will be presenting. Joining us this morning, to my right is Ms. Gaines. She is the program director. Next to her is Dr. Rodriguez. He is the president of the college. And next to him is Dr. Ornelas, the vice president of the college. East Los Angeles College, or ELAC as it is fondly referred to, has a long history of nursing education in an underserved area of Los Angeles. During the September 2019 continuing approval visit, the same noncompliances were found documented in previous approval and interim visits over the past 10 years. Ms. Gaines has been directing the program with minimal assistance. She is still in need of extensive help and support if this program is to improve. Ms. Gaines is very aware of the situation and the needs of the program. The two assistant directors have minute release time to learn and lead the program. During the September visit, assistant directors told nursing education consultants that they both teach on overload and help Ms. Gaines when she asks for help. Ms. Gaines is also teaching in the program while holding the director responsibilities. Neither assistant director is capable of directing the nursing program in the absence of Ms. Gaines. In 2014, a major curriculum revision was approved by the board. This revision has not been implemented to date. This revision is on paper, however, the faculty have not changed their courses nor their methods of instruction. Most faculty are teaching on overload, making it impossible for curriculum changes to be implemented. Faculty do not take any responsibility for the nursing program. The majority of the faculty have been teaching at ELAC for many years and have become complacent. The 75% pass rate for NCLEX first-time test takers appears to be the goal of this program instead of the minimum. There is extensive need for resources and equipment. The college administration has changed recently, and with the interim appointment of Dr. Rodriguez as the college president. It was stated at the visit that past administration did not support the nursing program nor understand the value of the nursing program to the health of the campus as a whole. ELAC has the potential to be a successful nursing program, as there are many schools in the Los Angeles area who have the same demographics and underserved student population. These programs have NCLEX pass rates well above the 75% minimum. The materials in your packet, including past board actions NCLEX pass rates, and attrition rates show the history and continuing issues. Since the September visit, Ms. Gaines has shared with me that she is working with college administration to address noncompliances in a sustainable manner. In your packet, you will now find the program's report or response to their areas of noncompliance. And since the October ELC meeting, ELAC has submitted their first progress report addressing areas of noncompliance and recommendations. This, I have listed for you the list of, the whole thing is in the report, but the list, the bullet pointed list is on the 3rd page of your AIS. So the things that they have addressed or are addressing is change in leadership with release time for the director, the assistant director, and to address succession planning. Semester reviews by faculty of total program evaluation, including updating data. Full-time med-surg faculty position is already posted. Meeting with the hiring committee, they actually did that on the 8th regarding 2 full-time, and I will let them speak to them, but I believe that it's now 3 full-time positions have been approved. They've hired a case manager who began working October 15th, and I have a first report from that person as well as what they have done since October 15th. An RN content expert is to be hired for the skills lab and to have extended hours in the skills lab. An instructional assistant for the nursing learning lab position has also been posted on the website. New equipment has been ordered and should be ready for use in December of 2019. I have the supplies and equipment list, should you want to see that. Minor curriculum changes will be starting in January 2020 to improve student learning outcomes. And a faculty member has been assigned to Kaplan to improve integration into the curriculum. So I have reports of all of that. I have also sent, prior to this meeting, I sent an email to Ms. Gaines asking her questions regarding these specific things, asking for, things like timelines and dates and those kind of things. And that did not arrive before the packet material was due, but I also have that information. This concludes my report, and you can address your questions to our representatives.
Are there any questions from the board? Yes. Is there any statement from the school?
Of course, yes. So we're not done, obviously. We have a lot of work to do, but in item 7.7, it talks about comprehensive review that we have to do and submit a report. So I spoke with you in October about hiring a consultant to work with this. So we've identified a person with the help of Dr. Morris, thank you. And so we're in the process of engaging that person, executing the contract to have that person come in and review our program from A to Z, make recommendations to us in addition to what we have already. So that's one thing. The other thing is that Vice President Ornelas and I are going to Compton College next week to meet with President Curry. I've known President Curry for a long time. I know he's turning his program around. Hopefully we can learn some things from him about what he's done there at Compton and try to implement those things at East LA College. So we're trying everything that we can to think about how to improve our program, and hopefully we will within this time frame. Also want to say at the last meeting there was a comment made about it's not enough to change culture, it's not enough to change our processes, we need to change our structure, and so we're also working on that, and hopefully by the next meeting we'll have more progress on that front as well. So that's all I wanted to say. I'll turn it over to Vice President Ornelas or Ms. Gaines.
I just want to be clear and let everyone understand that for the very first time in a very long time, we have strong administrative support in getting things done to meet the goals and objectives of the program and meet the needs of the community and our students. So I am very pleased to have the support and have my administration here with me at my side.
If I may make a comment, Dr. Rodriguez, and there's a planned meeting that's been scheduled with the campus presidents of the greater Los Angeles area, so I hope that you can join that meeting as well. We're looking to maybe in several weeks from now that I plan to facilitate that, just to talk about the nursing programs and the need to support the campus leadership to be more engaged in supporting the nursing programs.
Look to know the date.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would move the recommendation of the ELC.
I second it. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote beginning on the right.
Ken Marlborough votes yes.
Imelda Seha Bedquez, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7.8. Recommend to approve pre-licensure program unit adjustment or other changes for the College of Sequoias Associate Degree Nursing Program to enroll 10 additional advanced placement students for the next 2 cycles, or 2 years. Total enrollment of 40 students twice per year, plus 10 advanced placement students twice per year. Presented by Jeanette Wackerly, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Jeanette Wackerly. I'm the Supervising Nursing Education Consultant from Sacramento. And to my right, I would like her to introduce herself. She's the director.
My name is Belen Kirsten. I'm the director of the Registered Nursing Program at the College of the Sequoias.
I'm doing this report for our gone Susan Engel, Dr. Susan Engel. So I've had the opportunity to meet with Belen and to go over the report itself. So I want to kind of make a little direction change here regarding the request. Part of it has to do with the increase in enrollment. The other part has to do with the new concept curriculum. And I'd like the director to take a few minutes to tell you about that. Belen?
So the last time that we had a major curriculum change was 2002. That's over 17 years ago. In November of 2017, we had our continuing approval visit. And at that time, we were in compliance with all areas and had 3 recommendations. One was to consider making a major curriculum change since it was so old, and the other was to incorporate simulation into our curriculum. We have hired a consultant which met with the faculty December of 2017. The faculty decided that they would make this change and go with the concept-based curriculum. At that time, it took it's taken us 2 years to get it all completed. And just this month, we had our consultant come and meet with the faculty to give them tools on how to do the change in the concept-based curriculum and how to teach it, so that we are going to get our students, nursing students, to have a more critical thinking aspect to being a nurse.
So if I can interject now for a minute, I want to, the concept curriculum is kind of the upcoming thing for many, many schools. It's a complete change from the old way of presenting curriculums. So I have to tell you that the faculty has worked very hard with the expert who comes to them to do this kind of work. So it's a major change for them, and we're going to probably see more schools coming to a concept curriculum. The other part of the request has to do with increasing student enrollment, and I want to point out to you that the area of where this school is also considered a short supply of registered nurses. So you have in your packet information from the hospitals, in particular Kuya Delta, who is requesting an increase in the enrollment. And they were going to take advanced practice or LVNs into advanced practice or the 3rd semester. And it's 10 students, which adds to the 40 that are already there. So it's 100 students total for the program, but they are going to become part of the program after they've completed their LVN and can be in advanced placement in the 3rd semester. So that's the request for increased enrollment. So we're asking that you approve the concept curriculum and that you approve the increased enrollment.
I make a motion that we accept.
Second.
Comments? Public comment?
Sorry, who was the second?
Donna.
Donna.
Call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Imelda Seha Badgwitz, yes.
We are in the middle of, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a question about the concept-based curriculum. You went over it rather quickly, just indicating about critical thinking, and I think nurses have been doing critical thinking for a long time. So what is different about this concept?
Okay, in our concept-based curriculum, in the very first semester, we're going to have a course just called critical thinking. So instead of having a medical-based curriculum where we have a medical diagnosis, and the students need to address that, we're going to now talk about, for example, a concept of infection. Where does it go? You know, how do you bring it through the semesters? So in first semester, we'll start at a low level. Let's say we won't go into maybe just a pneumonia. And then as it progresses through the semester, we'll bring on the exemplars of what is involved in that concept. For example, by fourth semester, if they have, I'm thinking of a higher, like sepsis, a higher level of infection. So we will continue on with making them think, okay, let's go through the process of what are you thinking about here with infection? What do you know about it? How does it pertain to your patient? What's going on with your patient? What are the lab values? What is it looking like? And we're just growing, having them grow this concept of infection all through the 4 semesters.
Thank you for the explanation. I'm just thinking, maybe I should think it to myself, but I thought nurses were thinking like that for years. So
that's true. Once we are finished with the program, nurses are thinking like that. But in the very beginning, we have to introduce them. You need to start thinking as a nurse does, and we have a critical thinking course for them to start that whole process, so there'll be the underlying basis.
Okay, thank you.
Shall we continue with the vote? Michael Jackson, yes.
I would start with a revote.
All right, revote.
Can I ask a question? Are we just going to add that we've approved the major curriculum revision to a concept-based curriculum? Because that's not currently on. So she's requesting addition to what's on here. So this is what's on the agenda has to do with the enrollment increase, and she's asking to also,
On the agenda.
because it's a major curriculum revision, so I just don't
No.
know if we can add that on.
We're going to approve what's listed in the agenda right here. If there's anything else that needs to be done, and they need to come back before the ELC in January.
Fine.
Yeah, because it's just not listed on the agenda.
But it was on the ELC in
It was on the ELC,
October.
it didn't go forward.
Oh.
We will bring it back.
So the ELC, okay.
I can bring back the agenda item, and,
She doesn't have to be present for that.
no, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Imelda Seha Badgwitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank
So
you.
much.
Item number 7.9. Recommend to approve pre-licensure program unit adjustment or other changes, Sacramento City College Associate Degree Nursing Program, to enroll 10 additional advanced placement students for the next 2 cycles, which is 2 years. Total enrollment from 120 students to 130 students annually for 2 years, 2020 and 2021. Presented by Katie Doherty, Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I won't repeat my name since it was just introduced. I work in the Sacramento office of the board, and to my immediate right is Dr. Carol Mountain, who is the program director. This item was ratified for moving forward for approval of the full board at this time. And as I say, you have before you about a 40-page document which really supports continuation, actually, of the part-time LVN program, LVN to RN Advanced Placement Program for the 2 more cycles, the January through December 2020 cycle and the cycle from January 2021 through December 2021. This has been highly successful in the first 2 cycles. The second cycle is concluding December of this year. As I say, we're really talking about the addition of 10 additional students in each of the 2 cycles that are being proposed. You have before you all the letters of support. There were 10 schools who were contacted. 7 of the 10 gave written approval. 2 of the 10 gave verbal approval, and for various corporate and other reasons did not submit a written letter. And then there was 1 academic institution who chose not to respond in writing, except for an email to Dr. Mountain, neither supporting nor objecting to moving forward. Sacramento City is part of a very robust consortium in the Sacramento region, and as I say, there was support from all of the clinical agencies involved. The main difference in the newly proposed 2 cycles is that instead of the acute care clinical experiences occurring at Dignity Mercy institutions in the Sacramento region, they'll now be doing their acute care experiences at UC Davis Medical Center, which has more than ample depth, breadth, and variety of experiences. The other thing that I want to really take a moment to commend Dr. Mountain for doing is really making a concerted effort to introduce the students to clinical experiences across all levels of care moving forward, not just exclusively the acute care, but home health, long-term care, and other community-based settings. You can see that their NCLEX pass rates are stellar. They have an excellent reputation in the community. We're talking 96, 98% on an annual basis. Are there any questions about
I make a recommendation we accept.
Second.
We can hear from the program if you need to speak.
I guess I'd like to say that we are really meeting a need in the community for those LVNs that so desperately need to continue working to provide financial support and health care for their families. And the feedback that we've gotten from our students is how grateful they are for this opportunity to advance their careers. And so we thank you for letting us do those first 2 cycles, and we hope to continue on. I did want to let the board know that we're also working with the California Department of Corrections to assist them in helping their LVNs to move forward to RN as well. And so we think the program is serving the needs of the community in the best possible way.
Any public comment? See no public comment, I call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Imelda Ceja Butkwitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 710, recommendation to approve pre-licensure program unit adjustment or other changes for San Joaquin Delta College Associate Degree Nursing Program to continue fast-track student enrollment and increasing enrollment from 20 to 40 students for the next 2 cycles, which is until May of 2022. Presented by Katie Daugherty, Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning once again. To my immediate right is the program director, Lisa Lucchese, and she's been with the program for some time. As I say, you have a very comprehensive packet of information in terms of the very innovative things that San Joaquin Delta is doing with their program. This particular fast track 4-semester ADN program really enables those who are enrolled in this program to complete the program in 16 months as opposed to 24 months. There was no opposition from the schools in the region, and you have all the letters of support from the clinical agencies. You also have the very detailed enrollment pattern moving forward. They would return to their former total program enrollment of 160 students, concluding the fast track when they finish out the next 2 cycles in spring of 2022. So in fall of 2022, instead of the varying enrollment pattern that you have listed on the grid, they would then go back to the total of 160 in the program. You can see that they have excellent NCLEX pass rates. Their simulation is within the recommended allowable percent. They have excellent faculty resources, very stable leadership, faculty, and clinical agencies. You heard at the ELC meeting, for those of you who participated, there's tremendous support in the community because not only is this offering a new opportunity to high school students to get into a nursing program earlier than ever before, this will serve, hopefully, long-term retention of RNs in the community. Do you have any questions for our...
Any questions from the board? Seeing no questions from the board, I make a recommendation that we accept.
Imelda?
I second it.
Any public comment? Did you need to make a presentation again?
No, just thank you for the opportunity to create something that supports our community.
I call for the vote.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Seha Bedgoodz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Randy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 711, recommendation to accept changes to an approved program, College of the Redwoods Associate Degree Nursing Program, to add a secondary location in Crescent City, presented by Jeanette Wackerly, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning again, Jeanette Wackerly. To my right, I'd like her to introduce herself, the director.
Good
College of
morning.
the Redwoods.
I'm Roberta Farah.
We're excited to bring to you a LVN paramedic program from Crescent City. If I don't stumble over the words today, I'll be happy. The Crescent City is about 90 miles from Eureka, and they don't have any other opportunity to get an RN license. The topography and the distance and the black ice on the road and many things are a problem. I want you to understand that the school administration took the lead in providing a way for students to come down from Crescent City by getting a grant. That grant money then pays for transportation. They are also able to find room within their campus school dorms for the students to stay a number of days and not have to drive back and forth. So the recommendation is for 10 students to be approved to travel from Crescent City to Eureka, but it's primarily for the psych mental health. I don't know if you're aware of the particular Pelican Bay. It's a high concentration of inmates in that prison, and the faculty determined that they didn't think that the students would have an adequate psychiatric experience. So the travel is for the purpose of the psych experience that will occur in Eureka, which is the same experience that the students on the Eureka campus have. So the rest of the delivery of theory is going to be online. I had an opportunity to go to Crescent City. It's a small drive to get up there. and then go to the school, but they have, you would be interested in seeing the desks that have the computers come up out of them. That's how the student sees and hears the transcription from the main campus to the distant campus. And they're interactive. They're in class. They also have provided sort of a steward for the class on campus so that they don't stray and talk and do their phones and other things while the lecture portion is going on, which I think is very helpful for the faculty delivering the program. Would you like to say anything?
Just excited for our community to be able to have this program and that the students don't have to drive so far. It's 180 miles round trip, and that takes a considerable amount of their day, and it could be used better studying for their nursing practice.
They also suggest that they probably have enough students in Crescent City to run the program for 3 years through the third and fourth semester. So right now, we're asking for an increase of 10 students over 3 years, or 30 students total, to their already enrollees, and there's 40 enrollees down in Eureka.
I make the recommendation we accept.
Second.
Public comment? No public comment. Call for the vote.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Seha Badgwitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 7.12, pre-licensure program unit adjustment or other changes for CNI, Associate Degree Nursing Program. There was no committee recommendation at the ELC meeting. Presented by Wayne Boyer, Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Wayne Boyer. I'm a nursing education consultant in the Southern California region. And to my right is Dr. Sasha Barang, who is the program director. I'll let her introduce the other individuals sitting at that table.
Good morning, members of the board. To my right is Ms. Sylvia Bautista, the Vice President of CNI College, and Mr. Jim Buffington, the President of CNI College. Good morning.
This is another time to bring this to either ELC or board, and so I will get on with my report. Dr. Barang is the program director. She's been there since January 5, 2017. On April 3 of 2019, Dr. Barang sent a letter of request for an enrollment increase of 40 students 5 times a year from the current 24 students at the beginning of each 10-week quarter, with a sequence of 4 times a year and 5 times the next year. So it's an increase of 16 students per cohort every quarter, an additional one cohort equaling 5 starts per year. Currently, the program is enrolling 96 4 times a year or 120 5 times a year, according to the enrollment pattern. Within this increased request, the total enrollment pattern would be 5 times per year, 40 students per start, so it would be equaling 200 students per year. The program is delivered in 8 10-week quarters. Nursing courses begin in the 4th quarter. The proposal was previously presented at the Education Licensing Committee in August 15, 2019, and the BRN board meeting is September 12, 2019. The board vote on September 12 was to defer action for the CNI enrollment increase until November 29 board meeting. There was questions and there was a follow-up on clinical placement. CNI has submitted multiple supporting documents along with a request letter, attachment 1, and table of faculty and facilities, which is attachment 2, and a list of 50 BRN-approved clinical agencies, which is attachment 3. The table identifies 11 BRN-approved clinical agencies from the list of 50 at which the additional students would be attending for clinical experience. After the September board meeting, nursing administration or nursing education staff at all 11 facilities were contacted via telephone on October 9, 2019 by this NEC, with a follow-up phone call made October 21, 2019 to facilities that had not responded. 9, which is 81.8%, replied via email or via telephone and expressed that no clinical displacement would occur as a result of the additional CNI students. 2, 18.1% facilities did not respond, which is all included in attachment 4. CNI sent letters, emails to 25 pre-licensure nursing programs within a 53-mile radius of the campus that currently have students in clinical sites utilized by CNI College. Responses were returned from 15 institutions. Follow-up letters were sent to 10 schools that had not responded by this NEC prior to the October 15 ELC meeting. Telephone messages were left with 8 programs that had not responded to either letters or emails. 1 message was returned with an additional endorsement. 11 schools support the enrollment increase. I'm not going to say which schools. 6 schools oppose the proposed enrollment increase. 7 schools did not respond to either method of notification. Following the September 12, 2019 board meeting, myself prepared a letter addressing the board response to their raised concerns and developed a clinical placement verification form, and that's attachment 5. The letter and form were sent via email to the program directors of the 6 programs opposing the enrollment increase. Responses were requested by October 18. On October 2nd, a face-to-face meeting was conducted with one of the nursing program director who was seeking clarification. A second request was emailed to the program directors October 19 due to the poor response rate. 5 programs replied. 2 programs submitted letters continuing to oppose the enrollment increase and did not include the completed clinical placement verification. Neither identified CNI as a reason for displacement. 1 sent the clinical placement verification forms completed for 2 facilities not intended for use by CNI for the newly enrolled. 1 replied with a list of affiliating clinical agencies with no agencies identified to be used by CNI students, and 1 submitted printouts from the Orange County Long Beach Consortium. While the submitted spreadsheet was very comprehensive, no institution proposed by CNI for the enrollment increase are listed. CNI College is also not listed on the spreadsheet, attachment 5. Dr. Rarang submitted a letter stating that no clinical competition for Saddleback, Long Beach City, or Los Angeles City would occur. CNI submitted facility verification forms for 2 clinical sites to be used by the additional students that are outside of the Orange County area. These are San Dimas Community Hospital that is located in San Dimas, Los Angeles County, and Montclair Hospital Medical Center located in Montclair in San Bernardino County. 3 nursing programs that were identified on the approval forms as using these 2 sites were contacted. 1 program had no opposition. 2 programs did voice concerns but offered to work together with CNI to resolve possible conflicts. And that is some new material that's not in your packet but has been submitted after the packet was prepared. There was also a request for follow-up on the job market. CNI College is located in the heart of Orange County in the city of Santa Ana. The results of the October 2018 summit meetings describe Orange, Los Angeles, and Ventura counties as facing a surplus, and projected new graduate growth is much higher than needed. CNI College is enrolling and educating not only students within Orange County, but also to its neighboring counties considered impacted by the need for demand of nurses currently and in the future. Approximately 35 to 40% of the current student population reside outside of Orange County. Of the 193 students enrolled, 10 are residents of cities within a 1 to 10 mile of radius of CNI College, 44 are residents of cities within 11 to 20 miles, and 48 are residents of cities within 21 to 30 miles. 17 are even further, within 31 to 40 miles, and 20 are residents of cities 41 to 50 miles from the CNI campus. 19 are residents of cities within 51 to 60 miles, and 11 are residents of cities within 61 miles and over. During the 2018-2019 academic year, the program received 5,870 inquiries. There were 423 eligible program applicants, and 96 were granted program admission. CNI College submitted verification of employment opportunities in the Orange County region, which is attachment 6. Information submitted included job openings data from 30 major hospitals located in Orange County, as found on the career or job section of each hospital's website. The data was obtained on September 22nd, 2019, and showed a total of 524 openings for RNs. Additionally, a healthcare workforce survey report for the second quarter of 2019 by the California Hospital Association found a vacancy rate of 4.4% for registered nurses in Southern California facilities, and job openings for registered nurses in Orange County were found to be 1,403, and that was on September 25, 2019. CNI College recently relocated to a new location and has the space, faculty, and resources to meet the learning needs of the students. The institution is financially secure, holding a composite score of 3.0 by the Department of Education and reserves of $10 million. NCLEX pass rates are as follows. They had one time where they were low. They have instituted changes and improvements, and their current NCLEX is 83.49%. And I thank you, and that concludes my report.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I noted that in the data here regarding job openings in the area, do we know whether those job openings are for registered nurses, are for new grads, or whether they're for experienced registered nurses?
Dr. Rarang should have that information. I don't have it with me, and I apologize.
The job placement for Orange County would be a combination of both newly grad and experienced nurses. It is not going to be a requirement for a nurse to apply for a job, whether you are an experienced or not. What you are going to present to the employee is that, first, you actually successfully passed your NCLEX. Second, are you qualified for that position? Because the job opening is telling you exactly the job description. So if you qualify for the job description, therefore you are qualified for the job. I also would like to tell you something about CNI College, because I would like to praise it. Don't judge the book to its cover. What is important is invisible in the naked eye. CNI College is a concept-based program since its inception. CNI College has almost more than half of its enrolled students who are actually already in the medical field, LVNs, EMTs, and psych technicians. Therefore, for those kind of individuals who are really wanted to improve their careers, you would like to go to a fast-track program. We are 20 months fast-track program blended. We are combining the technology of online and actually on-site. So therefore, our teachers, our faculty are trained by me about concept-based nursing. Our NCLEX rate is going stellar. We are actually at 89% on the last quarter and moving to 100% for this from October 1st up to the current period. Also, I would like to look at the employment rate and the attrition rate. We are at 95% for our employment rate for our graduates and 98% for attrition rate. Those are what you call program evaluation or assessment of a program. If a program is not effective, those should not be actually in place. We are ABHES accredited schools, and we are CCNE accredited schools as well. So therefore, I can guarantee to you that the program that CNI College is offering to the public is quality, and my faculty are there all the time for our students. We are a student-centric college. Thank you.
So let me go back to my question. Thank you for that additional information. I think what I'm trying to figure out here is, so we have a situation where we have an existing program. It's obviously doing quite well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're requesting an enrollment increase. So what we're considering here is the impact, the consequences of whether the board approves an enrollment increase for this program that we've been, advised is a very good program. And a lot of the data that we were just provided has to do with the need for RNs in the area. And it's numerical.
Right.
So it doesn't really tell me, for example, whether the need is for experienced RNs or RNs who have particular clinical skills that a new grad wouldn't necessarily have, or whether these are openings that a new grad would meet the qualifications of. So do you have any?
I believe the data that is in what I presented, I believe there's some information. It's rather robust. I thought it was about 300 for new graduates. I could be wrong, but it just, as I remember, it seems like that was the sizable.
Where's
there
that?
was some data.
Where is?
I see the aggregate. I don't see for new graduates. I see an aggregate of a total number of RNs. It doesn't delineate.
I'm sorry. It might have been something that I was given. I just didn't include in the packet. I apologize.
So I'm looking at this. It says job opening for registered nurses in Orange County were found to be 1,403 on September 25th, 2019. So are you saying that out of that number?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Out of that 1,400 number, you think maybe 300?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, and I apologize for not having that.
That's
But
okay.
it was a rather robust number. I was surprised.
I'm just trying to figure out what's. I'm sorry.
Statistics at this time are at 90% placed new grads, and that's been going on. That has been growing over the past. Historically, if you had no job openings for a program, you wouldn't have a 90% placement statistic. You would have something where maybe 40, 50% of your students graduate and you're struggling over a period of time to find employment. So we're having good employment records for these graduates. And we have created this information to show you. Basically, I thought our issue was about displacement. And now it seems to me we're moving to graduates, and then we're trying to split the graduate, whether that's a new placement or an existing placement. I'm a little bit on the confused side why this would be an issue when the whole thing we've been talking about with the board has been displacement. We spent an inordinate amount of time proving that we have no displacement. We've been to 2 ELC meetings and never had the ELC even look at our school. This is our 3rd trip here. We're asking for an enrollment increase. I know I've been told it's a hot button. We have run the same enrollment for the past 8 years, 24, and I'm just trying to understand how this relates back to the displacement issue that was discussed at the last meeting. We've covered all our bases.
Well, let me just clarify for
you. Please,
thank you. So that you'll understand why I'm asking the questions I'm asking. It's my job to make sure I understand what's in the report.
Yes.
And what it means on all issues, on all levels. But you raised the issue of displacement, so let me get to that as well. My understanding is that we still have a situation where we have, it appears as though a number of institutions are not concerned about displacement.
And clinical agencies.
Well, and clinical agencies, but we still have some schools that are concerned or no?
There are 6 schools that did not endorse the enrollment increase. They were recontacted, and some did not respond. They sent me information, and I reported it to Dr. Rarang. There were some schools that they are not even in facilities that are used by CNI.
So the information that we have is sort of mixed.
Yeah.
Well, the reason they didn't respond is because we don't even share the same sites, clinical sites, and we're not in the same territory. They're their own, we're on their own. We only have 13 sites that we use. All our sites are confirming no displacement. We are working with only one site, and that site said, not a problem, we'll work together.
Okay, so let's be clear. The sites that you use, which are how many again?
13.
13. The other schools that use those sites, none of them have an objection.
Exactly.
Okay.
Confirmed.
Good to be clear.
Yes.
Okay.
It's some of the new material that it's not in your packets. I apologize for that.
That would be helpful. Okay. And just also so that we're communicating clearly, sir, I recognize that, and I heard the information that you have a high employment rate for your students, but that data is based on your current enrollment, right?
That's based on our students that graduate. I can answer that question. The students have graduated in our school.
Right.
And on the enrollment that we have accepted, we have a very, every student in our school that has a license that graduates gets a job, because I work on that department, so I can
understand
testify.
that. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, definitely.
That's based on your current enrollment.
Yes.
Right. And what your request to the board is to go from either 96 per year or 96 or 120 per year to 200 per year, correct? Okay, so we got that straight.
And I just want to add, we have the facility, the staff, the clinical sites, pass rates, everything that we need to handle that enrollment and the space.
Also need to add that when we decided we needed to have an increase in our enrollment because of the demands of people coming to our school that want to enroll and they want access, as you can see on our demographic, students come a long way to go to our school. I think they don't like to make the drive. I think they come to the school because they got accepted in our college. They have applications in all the schools everywhere. People from San Diego are on waiting lists across the venue. And our whole issue was that when that we had this interest from students, so we're turning away students constantly. We have a facility. We have everything we need to accommodate those students. We have some community partners and people that we are shared our work with, and that's where we're at. I don't know if the word proven displacement, we don't have displacement. And with the letter that Dr. Boyer just stated, that there were 2 people in out-of-area sites that we use. They'd be happy to work with us because there isn't a displacement. They just happen to share that site with us, and we've had communication with them. So we have a good feeling from other schools in our area, and I know we're in Orange County. We've been there a long time, I just want to make sure that how we approach as a school to ask for an enrollment increase. The process would normally go to the ELC, and the ELC didn't want to talk to us. They kicked us up to another ELC, and then they finally said this is a board issue, and here we are at the board asking for this. I just want to be clear that any of the issues that the board would have with us, that we'd have an opportunity to answer those, or maybe any of your thoughts on this. There's many factors here I've been listening to, so I just want to be clear as all. Thank you.
As one of the members of the ELC that was at the last month meeting, I appreciate you bringing more information because I was one of the people that said I needed more information. So thank you very much. It was a contentious meeting last month, but we did need additional information. So I do thank you for that. You have complied with that request to give us more to look at so we can have a fuller process. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do apologize. I got a little carried away last weekend.
At this time, we're going to take a little 5-minute break so the board members can use the bathroom. Okay. and then we'll come back. So we'll adjourn for 5 to 10 minutes until they can check out of their rooms. Back on the record, and we're back with our agenda item 7.12. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion on this item that we approve the increase in enrollment conditioned for a 2-year period. That will give time to see what the consequences are one way or the other. And then we'll take another look at 2 years if there's, but we should also move, I believe, to waive fees to, if they have to come back in 2 years, is that's okay with you? Yes. Thought it might be. That's my motion.
Second it. Public comment? Are you a representative of the school?
I am from College Medical Center. My name is Joe Avellino. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of College Medical Center. We're a licensed 221-bed facility. A little bit about, I wanted to make a public comment to the effect of the nursing shortage and challenge that I have. I'm also a nurse by background, an ER and neurosurgery critical care nurse, RN license 485812. And some of the challenges of my 221 licensed bed, 137 of those beds are LPS designated behavioral health. So new grads is critical for me. Recent, and CNI being one of my key partners, we're able to recruit and also employ these needs, and there's not enough, not only in the behavioral health, where the ratio of 1 to 6, and also in the med surg, where my telemetry is in demand of 1 to 4, and for the med surg, which I also have a detox, as well as med psych, of 1 to 5 ratio. Along with that, I am also executive member of the HASC, of the Hospital Association, where there are currently 180 hospitals, of which 95% of those are through the California Hospital Association. The reason I share that with you, there's been a most recent study that's been released by HASC on the 2019 Healthcare Workforce Survey Report, of which there's been in Southern California estimated RN vacancy rate of approximately 5.1%. That's been recently been released in the second quarter of 2019. I also anticipate...
What study did that come from?
Sir, it's the 2019 Healthcare Workforce Survey Report. It's quite extensive. If you need a copy, I can certainly provide that.
We're going to get extensive information from the University of California researcher here in a second.
Yes, thank you. And also with the anticipation of, again, with the issue with the nursing shortage, with the opening of the $1 billion cancer center for City of Hope, as well as the $40 million project and the Orange County Mental Wellness Program from the Regional Center, I really anticipate there's going to be some demand and needs for nursing. Thank you for your time.
So are you in support of the motion that you're speaking to?
Yes, ma'am. I'm very much in support of the motion. Thank you for the kind consideration.
If I could just clarify, so we're approving the enrollment increase to 40 students 5 times a year, which is 200 per year.
For 2 years.
2 years, okay, for a 2-year period.
Correct.
From today, okay. Thank you.
I was going to say, and as I understood it, they can come back for, in I would say probably 12 to 18 months to see what the impacts have been of that growth.
Okay.
And there's no fee for coming back.
No further public comment. Call for the vote.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Ceja Batgotz, yes.
Bill Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7.13, Recommend to accept changes to an approved program, Chamberlain College, Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, addition of a new campus or location, contingent upon receiving additional data. Presented by Bhadra Caraway, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning. This is Bhadra Caraway, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant with the Board of Registered Nursing. To my right is Dr. Barbara Hall. She's going to introduce her colleague.
Good afternoon. I'll go ahead and let my colleague introduce herself.
Good afternoon, Dr. Kim Lamar. I'm the Senior Director of Campus Operations for Chamberlain University.
Dr. Angie Strong, who is usually to the right of Dr. Lamar, sends her regrets. She's unable to be here today. She's the proposed campus president. She is also the president of Omicron Delta chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Nursing Honor Society, and they have their annual meeting in Washington, D.C. today. So she is there, but she's available by phone if we would like to ask her any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Chamberlain University College of Nursing has presented a feasibility study to offer a baccalaureate degree nursing program at the Riverdale, Irwindale, California. The feasibility study was presented by myself at the August 15, 2019 Education Licensing Committee, and the board vote to recommend acceptance of the changes to an approved program and addition of that new campus location per CCR 1432. The board vote on September 12 was to defer action for Chamberlain University College of Nursing Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program until October 2019 Education Licensing Committee. At the October 17, 2019 Education Licensing Committee meeting, the board voted to recommend acceptance of change to an approved program with the addition of the new campus location, with the further discussion regarding enrollment pattern. Based on that one, several action has been taken place. Number one, there was a face-to-face meeting between the program and Chamberlain College and also the programs that they had some concern regarding the enrollment. And that meeting was resulted in more investigation and also collaboration from Chamberlain University and other colleges and universities. I have prepared a letter addressing the board response and also sent those letters to all 9 concerned nursing programs. In addition to that one, I have also included the 3 major universities that they are in that area. I have contacted them and they expressed their response. All of the response has been tabulated and I have submitted them to you. You have it in your package. There were, then upon that 9 concerned schools that I have contacted, and there were about most all of them, they have responded to me via email. In terms of the no shared clinical place, 4 of them. 1 was they opposed. The rest of them, they have said that there is no displacement. But they have submitted their rotation schedule, which I have provided you with that. This morning, I have received a 4-page, I think, another scheduling from the Chamberlain that they have gone through every courses. And for example, in fundamental, they need 34 space, they have 78. Signed the clinical rotation contract. For the adult health, they needed 32. They have 94 placement that was signed. And so did for the mental health, for all of them. If you need a copy of that one, since I just received it, I will be more than happy to provide you with that. It indicates that they have gone through all of those sites, and they have more than enough sites, even for those places that there was only one opposed of all of those concerned places, and they are willing to work with them, and they have more than enough clinical facilities that in case if that one doesn't work, they are willing to move their students to other places that they have. Basically, based on the information that I have provided you and all of my contact, there were minimum, I think, response that will show us that there are opposition from any of those schools. And also the clinical placement that they have provided me this morning will give me that they have done all of their work in terms of collaboration, in terms of researching all of the other areas to make sure there is no sign of the displacement. Azusa Pacific was one of the biggest university there, and they just responded that they are not using any of those clinical facilities. I also contacted Western University of Health Sciences. They said the same thing. So therefore, it seems that we have really covered all of the areas regarding enrollment pattern. And you have all of their projected enrollment number, which was 40 students to begin the coursework in January 2021. And the proposed plan was to enroll 40 students 3 times a year, fall, spring, and summer. And it's going to be, each semester is 16 weeks of instruction. And as I said, they are going to use it to start in January 2021. The total tuition fee for the total program will be $97,000. This will conclude my report.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Thank you for that report, and thank you for doing all of the very careful follow-up.
Thank you.
I think for myself as a board member, I'll just say that I really appreciate it when the schools do collaborate with each other and solve whatever potential conflicts might exist. That's really the goal here, is to resolve conflicts and have everybody on the same playing field. So appreciate that. Sounds to me like we don't have any issues, and I would move the recommendation as outlined.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? Any recommendations or comments from the school?
No.
Thank you. Call for the vote.
Would you like to add the enrollment?
Yeah.
So 40 students 3 times a year?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Imelda Seha Bedgood's yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes. Trandy Phillips, yes.
We'd like to acknowledge Bhadra and say thank you to the board and to Bhadra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7.14, recommendation to accept changes to an approved program, Stanbridge University, Associate Degree Nursing Program, addition of a new campus or location contingent upon receiving additional data, presented by Bhadra Caraway, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant.
Thank you.
Are we done? Okay. Good morning again. This is Bhadra Caraway, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant with Southern California. To my right is Mr. Yasit Virasuria, who is the CEO, President, and co-founder of the Stanbridge University in Irvine, California. He's going to introduce his colleague.
Thank you, Ms. Caraway, and good morning to the board. To my right is Dr. Kelly Hamilton, Vice President of Instruction.
Thank you. Stanbridge University have submitted the feasibility study to have a new campus, which is going to be located on 2215 West Mission Road in Alhambra, California. And the feasibility study was presented at August 15, 2019 at the Education Licensing Committee. And the board vote was to recommend acceptance of the change to an approved program and addition of the new campus location in Alhambra, California, and with the discussion regarding the enrollment pattern, CCR 1432. The board vote on September 12, 2019 was to defer action for Stanbridge University Associate Degree Nursing Program until the October 2019 of the Education Licensing Committee. At the September 12 board meeting, the enrollment pattern and the supporting document have been provided. The list of the 8 clinical agencies with the site also signed contractual agreement were discussed. Stanbridge University contacted 29 nursing programs within a 50-mile radius. 6 programs responded, 3 programs expressed concern, and the board requested that I do the follow-up with those that they have expressed some concern. Following that meeting of October, I have developed the letter and also the clinical placement verification form. In addition to that one, a face-to-face meeting was conducted on October 2nd between the representative of the Stanbridge, which was Mrs. Tracy Fry, Stanbridge University Nursing Program Director, and all concerned director of the nursing programs. The total of 14 letters has been sent to all of those concerned. Among that 28 that we have contacted, 14 of them, they were indicating that there is no displacement. 5 did not respond. 4, they were opposed of the expansion. One of the directors expressed that the main reason that they had some concern about that one, even though at the present time there is no sign of displacement, but because of the lack of centralized clinical placement system in all of those 3 shared clinical areas, there are some concerns that have been raised. And they recommended that that will be considered. This will be, regardless of which school is going to expand, that might be one of the concerns that always will be there. And most of the 3 hospitals that have been indicated that was a major concern are small hospitals in that area, and they cannot afford the monthly cost for the centralized clinical plan system. In addition to the function that I have done and contact that I have made, which you have a copy of it as a summary chart that I have provided you, in that summary chart indicated that 28 concerned schools that I have contacted, and only about 4 of them, they have been opposed. And only 5 of them, they did not respond. But they received the letter, they received my email. And the rest of them, they said that there is no displacement. The program also conducted on their own some of the research, and they have contacted most of those facilities, and they have provided us with the document that will say which area and even which rotation has some concern. And they are working and they are willing to work with those concerned clinical areas, and if it's needed, to utilize other facilities that they already have contract with. In terms of the enrollment, the goal is to admit 35 students 3 times a year. In the first calendar year, which will be total of 105 students in 2020, and thereafter the goal is to have 35 students 4 times a year, which will be added to 140 students. At the September meeting also, Mr. Veerasurya stated that if it needed, Stanbridge University will be willing to decrease the number to 30 students rather than 35 students, 3 times a year for the first and then 4 times a year thereafter. The tuition for the associate degree nursing program is approximately $84,995. So this concludes my report.
I've got, you said that there's a possibility that they said they could go down to 30 students, you said from 35. So could you do me a favor and do the numerics, because then you said it went back up. So we always get some confusion sometimes about what the total numbers are. So
Okay.
could you do it by the year? What are we talking about that we would be voting on?
So it's 33 times a year for the
that'd
first,
be 90.
90.
Okay,
And then,
first year.
Yeah, for year 2020. And then after that one will be 4 times, will be 120.
Okay, which is more than they'd originally said, because wasn't it 35 3 times a year?
No, the first, it says the goal is to admit 35 3 times a year for the 2020.
Okay.
And then after that will be 4 times a year, 35.
To 140?
35 students, 4 times a year.
So 140 students?
140.
So from 90, they would go down to 90 for 2020, but then they want to go up to 140? And
No, 120. If it will be 30 times 4.
Okay, so it wasn't 30, it was 35, it was 30. So that's why I want to write this down.
The first, right now, currently, they were asking for 35. But at this September 12th, they were willing to decrease it to 30 students 3 times a year for 2020, which will be 90 students, and then 4 times.
Then 2021, you're talking how many students for the total year for 2021?
It will be 120.
120.
Yeah,
Then
30.
thereafter, it would be 120?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
So let me also try to clarify this. I'm looking at your chart on the summary chart, program responses for requests for feedback on clinical placement. And I see Iola.
Yes.
I see East Los Angeles College. I see Rio Honda College, and I see Los Angeles Trade Tech College.
That's correct.
And what is that the current status?
It's the current status, and based on that clinical rotation that they provided me. They are assuming that it will be, but right now there is no displacement for this semester till they start the program.
Okay. So when you've looked at the actual facilities, I take it there is some overlap.
There are, and they identified in the one that I have provided you, they had provided.
Yeah, I see that. I just want you to summarize for me.
Yeah, okay. So what they have done is they have gone by course, they have gone rotation by rotation. They identified which one will be overlapping and which one it needs to be some collaboration to just make sure that there won't be any displacement.
Okay, and has that happened yet? The solving of those conflicts, has that occurred?
That occurred in terms of going over there and identifying them, but right now they don't have any students right now. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll ask for your input as well, but just so I'm clear, at this point, the information that the board staff has is that there is potential for conflict between some schools in the facilities that this school would also be in, correct?
That's correct, but, and they are, when I discuss it with them, they said that they are willing to take a look at this summary chart that I provided them and make adjustment that if it's needed to move their facility, but they can also provide you with that themselves.
Is there a consortium that they're a member of?
There is no consortium in LA. Because of the same thing that I mentioned, but there are centralized system that they are planning system. But the majority of the community colleges, they felt that it's too expensive for them to have. And some of the small hospitals that they are using, they cannot afford that one at this point.
Possible conflict, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ken.
It's a possible conflict. Is that the first year when they go up to 90?
I'm sorry? Yeah. Yeah, when they start. When they start in 90.
What I was going to say is, I don't know the Southern California area that well, and if they don't have a real consortium, then we're trying to figure this out. And we're doing multiple schools with large increases in all of these multiple schools. So I need some clarification. For this program, like, say, CNI or Chamberlain, are they in the same area as Stanbridge?
No, they are. The only one is Chamberlain is closer to them than CNI.
Okay. So, because we had one program we were really concerned about, we want to see what the impact of the increase is. Now we have this one for Stanbridge, and I appreciate all of your work, but they're going to go up to 90, and then they're going to go up to 120 and stay there. I'm wondering, as all of these schools have these a lot of schools, we're seeing these increases. Do we need to also look at the impact of this increase after a certain point of time? I'm throwing this out to the board and to the school, just so that we don't give an open-ended approval and then find out that in a later point in time, and then people say, well, why did you approve if this is an issue? Maybe we need to see what happens. Just throwing that out there for discussion.
Thank you. I think we can take a look at it from the same thing that we did in 2 years. We can come back because by that time we know what was the impact.
And I appreciate the school obviously is listening to our concern when they were willing to say, well, maybe we'll do 90 for the first year. But then when we go up, we don't know. And I'm concerned. I want to make sure everybody gets the experiences they need. So we continue to have the best nurses.
We can have the conditional that they can come back in 2 years, then we can see after the implementation if there is any sign of the displacement.
Sure. A question. Regarding the centralized clinical placement system in Los Angeles, who is the keeper of that system?
The hospital.
In LA?
And any hospital, they can have their own system. It's the large hospital, they usually have that system, but the smaller hospital, I think I heard about $1,000 a month, they cannot afford that.
Is this something that the board needs to look at, that maybe we need to be the keeper of the centralized clinical placement system? This one, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Not being a nurse, so I just don't know because it seems to be like a problem.
Imelda, each region has adopted its own system in place to help manage the clinical placements. For example, you have the San Diego Consortium. You have in the Central Valley, you do have, the Fresno Consortium. The Inland Empire has a consortium. In the summit report, I identified the various clinical placement systems that are that have been adopted throughout the state. And one of them is the CPS system. That is a software that's adopted. So it works differently than some of the other consortiums. The consortium could choose to adopt that software. However, there has not been a consortium that's been longstanding in the LA area. There is a consortium in the Orange County,
Long Beach
area, but LA has yet to formally adopt a consortium.
Thank you. Also, in the past, there were a number of attempts has been made, and several group of the colleges, they got together to start the consortium. It was working for a short period of time, but then they find out it was not really meeting their needs because it's a staffing situation with the hospital, so that didn't work. They are looking at the different now facilities.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Well, it just seems like there's a need.
Definitely.
And so I was just wondering how we can help with that need. So maybe we'll have discussions later. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Not right now, though. I'm going to make a recommendation that we accept conditional enrollment of 90 for 2 years. And then they can come back. Anybody else?
I will second that.
All right. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Seha Bedquitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, no.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to the board and to the staff. Good afternoon.
Item number 7.15, discussion and possible action for California State University Fresno Nurse Practitioner Program regarding National Nursing Organization accreditation status, presented by Shelley Ward, Nursing Education Consultant.
Well, I think we're at that precipice that we might be at lunchtime, afternoon time. So I'll say good afternoon. And I would like to introduce our program representatives. To my right is Dr. Sylvia Miller, who's the chair of the School of Nursing. She also is the program director for the MP program, as well as the pre-licensure program at Fresno State. And I will have the other administrative representatives introduce themselves.
Good afternoon. Jim Marshall, Interim Dean of the College of Health and Human Services.
Good afternoon, Board. Saul Sandoval. I am the Provost at Fresno State.
Good afternoon. Daryl Ham, University Counsel for Fresno State.
Okay, the purpose of this presentation from my perspective is to bring forward the conversation and information that was presented at the August 15th ELC committee meeting regarding the accreditation status specific to the nurse practitioner program at Fresno State. A brief background is that the scheduled accreditation visit by the CCNE organization was conducted in September of 2018. And subsequent to that accreditation visit, it was determined in May of 2019 that the program's MP program specific to the master's degree in nursing would have their accreditation status withdrawn for not meeting the standards of what's required for that academic program. What I can say is that, and I should give you this brief background for those that are not familiar, the programs that are there that offer graduate level education for MB programs include the Primary Care Family Nurse Practitioner Program, which is an MSN program. There's also a Postmaster's FNP program, and there is a Certificate of Advanced Study for Psych Mental Health Nurse Practitioner Program. The FNP programs, the two options, are board-approved programs. Oh, am I speaking too close? Sorry. Are board-approved programs. And by having board approval for those programs, their graduates
apply to the BRN to be certified as nurse practitioners in California through having completed the program that's approved by the BRN. The Certificate of Advanced Study for the nurse practitioners in psych mental health is a different type of option. The students that are admitted to that program are already certified nurse practitioners in California. And what they're seeking to do is to add an additional category of specialization in psych mental health to their existing certification status. So that program is not reviewed or approved by the BRN. However, in the report for the August ELC, we provided information on both options because it came to our attention through media outlets that there were, difficulties going on with the program, and we thought it was important for the board to be aware of what was happening with the board-approved option in addition to what was happening for consumers or with consumers of the not approved BRN option, because we don't need to approve that option. So going forward, what we thought would be very important was to be able to do an interim visit for the MP program after being provided with quite a comprehensive report for the actions that were being taken by both the program, the administrators, and so forth, to be able to really speak to the faculty, because we hadn't had that opportunity, and to speak to the consumers of the program to see what their understanding of the issues were, as well as where they thought things were going to be landing going forward. What happened subsequent, let me back up a little bit. So in September of 2019, a subsequent CCNE visit occurred to re-review these programs that I've just described. And additionally, the school made a decision to have the BSN program reviewed. That program review was scheduled for the following academic year, but to have it all done at the same time for efficiency's sake, and to ensure that the postmaster's options, particularly specific to the psych mental health, would undergo that initial programmatic review. So that happened in September of 2019, a year later from the scheduled visit. And then the BRN made their visit, myself and Jeanette Wackley, in October. What my findings were is that, first and foremost, the students were well aware of the issues. They had been made aware by both letters, meetings, and otherwise, of the status of the accreditation, which is important to them because in order to become nationally certified by an organization that offers the exam to graduates of programs such as CSU Fresno's, the program itself has to be accredited by an organization such as CCNE. So if that accreditation is not available to those students, if they were to want to or elect to seek national certification examination, they would be unable to do that. And so that's one reason why this is an important issue. Secondly, it's important because you'll be aware that the nurse practitioner regulations changed in January of 2019. It was a significant change in that the nurse practitioner programs that are approved by the BRN are now currently required to have accreditation by a professional association or organization such as CCNE. So those two things converge together. However, these findings came at a time where we were not conducting a continuing approval visit process. It came as information externally, but we thought it was important for you to be aware. What I think after doing the interim visit is that I personally can confirm that the action plans that were presented to the board on paper back in August, or I should say the ELC, are being implemented as written and as described. The students know what their options are, and the program continues to work towards mitigation of the situation and to have a successful outcome determination by CCNE in May of 2020. So we really won't know what the accreditation status is going to be until that time. So this is just really to provide you with an update and have the school provide you with any additional detailed information that you might like to hear about. Sorry. I always take my decongestants and they just dry me out. I don't know if you have any questions of me, but you might want to hear from the program because they're doing some corrective actions, not just for this year, but going forward, because that was one of the things that we wanted to know, what's going to be the sustainability, because as we see with programs, you have resources come in to address the immediate problem gets addressed, and then things change after that. So I will be silent at this point and let the program, discuss what they would like to discuss with you.
Did you have any recommendations?
Not at this time. It's to monitor and to continue to be in touch to see what happens by May of 2020, because we really don't have any evidence upon which to make a full determination until the CCNE makes their determination.
Until they have their visit in May, so.
Well, they had the visit, but they'll get their final determination by May of 2020.
And I would just like to add to the results that we received from the site visit and their report and our response to them. In their site visit, there are 4 standards that we have to meet. And in that report, 3 of those standards were identified that we were successful at meeting. The 4th one had some minor concerns, and part of that was in looking at and actually doing some revision on our program evaluation plan, and also how we reported some of the data.
What was the 4th area of concern?
The 4th area is in program evaluation.
Okay.
And so that was where what we did in our response report back to them was we significantly revised our program evaluation plan to add some criteria and also to add some identified dates that were missed. And also the other thing is that we resubmitted the tables where they identified, in some of them, they wanted the data combined, and in some of the other tables, they wanted them separated. So we resubmitted those tables as well.
Okay, thank you. I don't think there's any action for the board to take at this time, since we don't have all the information or all the data or the results of the evaluation from CCNE until May. They should come back to that ELC meeting then, because we have an ELC in May, correct?
We do. That would be if they have the report by then. If it's similar to last report cycle, that information came in at the end of May. So
We were actually told early in June, the official document, official findings.
So more than likely, it would be the August meeting where you would have the actual documentation from CCNE.
Make a recommendation that they come back to the August ELC.
Second.
Any public comment? Seeing none, call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Melda Seja Bedgood, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7.16, recommendation to approve progress report on the implementation of the Comprehensive Continuing Education Plan for approving and disapproving continuing education opportunities. I will present this information. So Senate Bill 799, Chapter 520, authored by Senator Jerry Hill, approved by Governor Gerald Brown Jr. on October 5th, 2017. The bill reads in part that the California Board of Registered Nursing is to, by January 1st, 2020, report to the appropriate legislative committees on its progress implementing this plan. The purpose of this report is to provide an update to the appropriate legislative committees on the progress of the implementation of the continuing education plan to approve or disapprove continuing education activities.
And this is just to accept the progress report. I make a recommendation that we accept.
Second.
I'll second the motion.
Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Imelda Seha Bedgood, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Randy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Item for items 7.17, 7.18, do the board members or the public have any questions related to this? This information is listed on the website and it's on the agenda materials for today. In the interest of time, we'd like to move on. Are there any questions from board members? Are there any public comments regarding 7.17, 7.18? Seeing no public comment or no board comment, we'll move right along to 8.0, report of the legislative committee, because she assures me that it will be very concise.
Okay, I've got to find it first.
And then we'll go to
Turn your mic on, Yvonne.
Good afternoon. And in the interest of time, I will proceed with this quickly. There were in 2019, the board followed 55 bills, of which 18 bills were signed into law by the governor. The governor vetoed 3 bills. Of those bills, 5 bills were information items and no positions were taken. The board took a watch position on 32 bills, a support position on 6 bills, and an opposed position on 6 bills, and an opposed unless amended position on 1 bill. Of the 5 bills that were amended and no longer applied to the BRN, the board has taken a watch position on 3. As you know, the legislature is in recess. It reconvenes Monday, January 6th. It is of note that some of the bills that are reflected on the tables that are in the meeting materials that were prepared for board consideration in November 2019 may be amended out so that they are no longer applied to the board during the second year of the 2019-2020 session. Other previously introduced bills may be amended so that they will now apply to the board. They, as well as any other bills introduced that will apply to the board, will be added to the January Legislative Committee agenda and will be reflected in the tables for the board's position. In addition, I'd like to also just thank Kay for her time and her contributions as a Legislative Committee liaison to the board, and just that how much we appreciated all her contributions. And is there any other questions?
No, I don't think we have any questions. This is our easiest Leg Committee report of the whole year. I'm so excited when it gets to be November. But I also would like to thank Kay, if she's listening, or if anybody sees her. She's done a great job in helping out the Leg Committee over the last 3 years that I'm aware of. So with that, I will move that we accept the report for the end of the year, and we will soon be talking about new legislation in 2020. So, and thank you, Yvonne, because I can hear that you can barely speak, and I know you're not feeling well. So thank you for being here to do this for us.
Thank you.
Any public comments? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro votes yes.
Imelda Seha Bedgood, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Randy Phillips, yes.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest presenter. We're moving along to item 7.2 that's been reordered in the agenda. 6.2. And this is information only. It's a presentation, the University of California, San Francisco, launching and accessing BRN school data via Tableau.
As they're, Mr. President, setting up, as you recalled, over the last year or so, I've been talking about implementing this new this data management tool that would be very useful for the schools and also the public at large. Tableau, it will be used to better manage, display, and scale data regarding nursing programs, again, in a more friendly format. And so Liesel, who works very closely with Dr. Joanne Spetz, I've asked her, if you turn behind you, you will see the screen there, is the presentation. And she's going to give you a presentation on what this program looks like, what it does, and schools will be able to go onto the board's website and access this data in better use for many of their reports. We're very excited about this new implementation of Tableau. So, Liesel, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, hi. My name is Liesel Blasch. I'm a research analyst with the University of California, San Francisco, Philip Arley Institute for Health Policy Studies. And for those of you who are completing or have completed the BRN School Survey, I'm the person that sends you all those emails. And I appreciate the hard work people are putting into that survey. And UCSF has administered the survey for about 14 of the 26 years that the survey has been administered. And we produce a number of data products out of that. So it's an annual survey, and much of the data we deal with is pre-licensure data. So we produce every year a summary report that goes into that data in depth for that particular year. We produce a trend report that pulls out some key variables and reports on those over the years for comparison's sake. We then usually produce 9 regional reports that look at that trend data at the regional level. And then we also produce an interactive Excel database, which is posted online and allows one to look at a subset of those trend variables in an interactive fashion. We also produce a post-licensure report that looks at post-licensure programs that are affiliated with schools that have a BRN-approved pre-licensure program. So as Dr. Morris just noted, we're going to be changing this a little bit. So we used to produce all of these regional reports, and we will stop doing that. And we used to produce an interactive Excel database, which we will also stop doing, and replace it with Tableau dashboards made into a story. So Tableau is a powerful data visualization software. I think a lot of people are aware of it if they have an IR department, particularly at the community colleges. It produces really nice interactive online graphics, and the data is displayed as a series of dashboards compiled into stories, or at least that's one way to do it. And as I noted before, it's used in academic institutional research and in business analytics. And so I'm going to show some of that data, and then also note that some of it I'm still sort of doing some quality assurance on, but I think it's pretty good. And the form of this may change a little bit because we're still looking at how many years it's reasonable to display. So we're doing this partially because it's more efficient and accessible to have all that data in one place and just be able to process it instead of creating all these separate reports. But we're also looking at the fact that it's kind of fun to use. I think that you can download the data to use in reports. It's really easy to download into PowerPoint, and so it should be very useful in that respect as well. So here's a slide that shows I guess it's called a story, and each of those little tabs at the top is a different dashboard that you can go to, and there's also a scroll bar. So you can see those are the tabs. And the first page just displays all the regions. And if you mouse over those, you should be able to get to the counties that are making up that region. And I'm still working on this function. There'll be more information attached to each of those regions as well in the future. And if I can, I'll probably do an interactive display of this in a minute if I can switch softwares, but I'll just show you this pretty quick. So this is another tab. And this is something that's sort of at the school level. So we have both school level and program level data. It's pretty simple. It's the number of schools over the years. This is the number of programs broken down by program type. And then there's a function that you should be familiar with if you're already working with that interactive database in Excel. It has filters, so you can filter by region, program type, public, private, and by school. And we have two levels of data. We have program level and school level. So program level data, you get all of those filters, and for school level data, you get all of those filters except for program type. This is just an example of program level data. And you can see the filters there on the side that a person can use. And then this is an example of school level data, and you'll see that the program level is removed as a filter here.
How come they say southern border?
It's one of the, which one says southern border? That is historically the
Well, just because
name.
it's historical doesn't mean it's an appropriate term.
Well, we can look into changing that. Suggestions are welcome.
I'm just saying. There's only one school down there.
Let's get through the report, Mr.
Okay.
Well, we accept that.
I'll give you my email address. Okay, so I'm going to look at how the filters work, and I'm going to switch really quickly, if I can, to, let me see if I can actually get this live in Tableau and get back to what that was. Okay, so if I wanted to filter this by region, maybe we won't do southern border. Let's do area. You can see that these numbers here change in the table, or they should, and that the chart that displays this also changes. So that's really fun. But I'll put it back to where it was. Okay, and then if you filter by public-private, you will also see that the numbers and the bars change. And then finally, if you filter by school, let's go to Redwood, you will also get, and you'll note that the bars are only one color because they only have an ADN program. So, you can do all these fun things with the data. One thing that is to be avoided is saying public because Brightwood is not a public school, and therefore all of the data disappears, and that could cause somebody some alarm, I guess. But yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. Let me just go back here. All right, so I'm going to go back to the slideshow now. And okay, so that's just an idea of the different filters and how you can filter. We just looked at this. The data coverage is going to be pre-licensure only. It's going to be updated annually, and that's another plus of this, is it's pretty easy to update. And we're thinking we're probably going to show the most recent 10 years. And the schedule for this is, I actually have now all of the variables from the interactive Excel database through 2017 to 18, and I'll add 2018 to 19 in this coming year when that data is ready. And probably within this next year, I will be adding additional variables from the regional reports. They're a little harder to get out, but I'll be taking them out and merging them so that we have all of the data that you would have gotten out of the regional reports in this tool. And that's pretty much my presentation. So if there's any questions, please let me know. There's my email if you want to suggest name changes to regions or whatnot, and my phone number.
Well, first of all, thank you, Lizo. I know this has been a long time coming. We've been talking about it. I'm sure the schools and the public at large will find it very helpful. And on that same note, all the deans and directors, we send you out the annual school surveys. Therefore, in order to collect this data, we need you to complete the annual school surveys in a timely manner. We have constantly, over the years, have emailed you, called you, and strongly encourage you to get us this data in a timely manner. So please, we encourage you to collect yourself accordingly so that we can update this data in a timely manner to ensure that it's correct.
I have a suggestion or a request.
Yes.
Can we include the consortiums? We talked about this earlier, the centralized clinical placement.
I think so. I'll have to get more information on how to do that, but I can look at that.
Okay, thank you.
The schedule to go live with this, we're looking at a couple of weeks.
Yeah, pretty much.
So mid-December. Thank you, Lisa.
That's great, thank you. Interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. Oh, she's not done, okay. So we have our 6.9.
Sure, we can do, moving on to the report of the Intervention and Discipline Committee, item 9.0.
Good afternoon. Report of the Intervention Discipline Committee. Imelda Ceja Redwoods, I'm the chair, and I will have item 9.1, intervention informational only, and I will have staff. You can please introduce yourself.
It's not working. There it goes.
Oh, there it goes.
My name is Joseph Pacheco. I'm the Deputy Chief of Enforcement, responsible for complaint intake, intervention programs, and our site and fine and legal desk. Giving the report for 9.1. General update, the BRN, beginning in September, BRN and the Department of Consumer Affairs, in collaboration with the Division of Investigation, we initiated a new one-year pilot project to adjust existing case referral guidelines for BRN complaint investigations. The pilot program changes the case referral guidelines for quality of care complaints alleging significant patient harm and/or patient death. Previously, these urgent priority complaints were referred only to D of I. Now, nearly all direct patient care complaints, including allegations of patient harm and patient death, will be referred to the BRN investigation unit. It's anticipated that this adjustment in case referrals will improve consumer protection by reducing investigative timeframes and provide the BRN more oversight and input regarding the resolution of quality of care cases. Review of the last 2 years of case referral data predicts DOI will receive approximately 100 fewer cases over the course of the pilot project. The pilot program includes case tracking accountability measures so that the BRN and DCA can closely monitor this critical caseload. And my future reports to the board and to the committee will include information on this pilot project. And as the BRN liaison to DFI, I continue my regular liaison meetings with DOI management, and we're monitoring this new caseload in each of those meetings. Any questions before I move on from there?
Any questions from the board? Any comments? Okay, moving along.
Okay. For complaint intake outreach efforts, the complaint intake unit manager, Sonia Wilson, has continued her participation in DCA's Enforcement Academy. Sonia's one of the instructors for the complaint intake course at the Enforcement Academy for DCA, and she recently conducted this course on September 19th. Staffing, recruitment to fill a new staff services manager in our expanded complaint intake unit is ongoing. Interviews have been conducted, and the anticipated start date is in November. The hiring of this manager will complete the BCP expansion of our complaint intake unit. We also have 2 office technicians and 1 SSA position vacant, and the recruitment is ongoing with these, and we also plan on having those filled by this month. I have some workload numbers. They're similar to previous reports. Unless there's a need for me to go through them, I will conclude this section of my report. Okay.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board members? In the audience, any comments? Okay, thank you, Joe.
Sure. Moving on to investigations. A general update, the investigation unit managers have been working very closely to coordinate our transition from 2 to 3 teams in our investigation unit. This transition is now complete, and our 3-team structure is now fully implemented. Additionally, the investigation unit managers have met to plan and finalize procedures to officially implement the DOI pilot program, and those procedures are now complete, and the cases are flowing to our investigation unit. Staffing. Our investigation unit has 2 special investigator positions vacant, 1 in our Southern California unit due to a recent promotion, and 1 in our Northern California unit. We have active recruitments to fill both of these positions, and they should be filled this month. I have, again, our investigation statistics year to date, and these are similar to previous reports. I won't go into them in detail unless there are questions. And cases over 1 year, as of November 1st, BRN has 10 cases over 1 year old, and DFI has 111 investigations over 1 year old. And that concludes my report for my section.
Any questions from the board, from the audience, any comments? Seeing none, we'll move along.
Shannon Johnson, I'm the Deputy Chief for Discipline and Probation, and I will start with the probation unit. We currently filled a vacant office technician position. We still have 1 staff services manager, 1 position, which we've done the first round of interviews on, and we also have an associate program or government program analyst position that's still vacant, and hopefully both of those will be filled by the end of this month or mid-December. Once all of those positions are filled, there will be 2 probation managers, 15 program analysts, and 2 office technicians, and the unit will be split into 2 units at that time. Well, it actually already has been split, but we're still just missing that 1 manager to oversee the second half. Current caseloads are about 88 cases per monitor. Once those positions are all filled and we have some people that are out returning back into work, we'll have 82 cases per monitor at that time, which is the lowest we've ever had. As far as the stats, we currently have 1,227 probationers. 400 of those are tolled, which means they're residing out of the state of California. I'm going to go ahead and report on cite and fine, unless you guys have any questions on probation. Okay. Cite and fine, we have issued, yeah.
Probationers. What's that? On the toll probationers, are we able to do something to bring that number down?
Well, we do monitor those twice a year. We contact them to see if they're still residing outside of the state of California. We don't really have anything implemented within our disciplinary guidelines right now. However, on our amendments or edits to the disciplinary guidelines, there's some more conditions of probation that they would need to comply with, and I think that will give us a little bit more teeth moving forward with those.
Or they can be put out to mail votes for us in the future, maybe?
Those we do take action on the ones that we can.
Okay.
Yeah. As for cite and fine, so fiscal year to date, we've issued 107 citations, and we've received a total of $47,250 back on those fines. And cite and fine remains to be fully staffed. The discipline unit, We currently have one office technician vacancy and hope to have that filled very soon. We've already done the interview process on that. As far as cases, we have about 780 cases at the Attorney General's office. We have 127 of those pending hearing. 97 are pending board vote. On this report, it states there's 13 over 2 years old. However, when I just checked on Monday, it's 9. So we're down another 4. So we only have 9 cases over 2 years old at the AG and only 112 within a year to 2. So that's a significant change from the last couple years. As far as the AG referrals, fiscal year to date, we've referred over 469. We've prepared 24 petitions to revoke probation. We've served 354 pleadings, signed 92 surrenders, and we've adopted 430 decisions. I've also attached the statistics for both probation and the discipline program broken out by the advanced practice certificates. Those are attached unless you have any questions. On those, I'll move forward with 9.3. Okay, so 9.3 is the intervention program, and although it resides with Joe now, I'm going to go ahead and report on that. So staffing the intervention unit has 1 vacancy for associate government program analyst that we hope to have filled soon. The request for proposals for the recovery program, as you know, that contract is over December 31st of this year. We are currently this month, next week, they're in the scoring process for the vendors who have bid on that contract. The evaluation committee, there are 5 IEC member vacancies. The intervention unit, we continue to search for IEC members, so if anyone's interested. We have 4 physician member vacancies in Fresno, which is IEC 5, San Jose IEC 7, Los Angeles IEC 3, and Irvine IEC 4, and then 1 public member in San Jose IEC 7. We also continue to search for nurse support group facilitators. So anyone who's interested in becoming either an intervention evaluation committee member or a nurse support group facilitator or co-facilitator, they can reach out to us through our website on the RN website, rn.ca.gov. Attached are the intervention program stats for your review. And unless there's any questions on those, I'll move to 9.3.1.
Any questions from the board? Any comments from the audience? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Agenda 9.3.1. This is Pamela Vincent, which is a physician member in San Jose IEC 7. This is a new appointment, which was voted on last month by the committee to move forward to board for vote.
I make a recommendation that we accept.
I'll second the motion.
Public comment?
This term would expire November 30th, 2023 as well.
Call for the vote.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Imelda Seha-Betwitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Okay, that concludes my reports.
Thank you, Shannon.
Item 9.4, good afternoon. Stacy Berruman, Enforcement Chief. This is information only. It's an update regarding the enforcement reorganization and information reporting changes. The Board of Registered Nursing was successful in obtaining additional enforcement staff resources over the past several years. As a result, the number of units have outgrown the previous management structure. With the approval of the most recent budget change proposal for 8 additional staff, the Enforcement Division submitted a reorganization justification request to the Department of Consumer Affairs, which was approved on September 11, 2019. The new structure includes the Enforcement Division Chief, a Deputy Chief of Complaint Intake and Intervention, a Deputy Chief of Investigations, and a Deputy Chief of Discipline and Probation. Management staff was notified that the structure and reporting change will go into effect on October 17, 2019. We're in the process of recruiting for the new Supervising Special Investigator 2, who will be the Deputy Chief of Investigations. This position was approved by DCA-HR on July 15, 2019. Initial interviews were held on August 20th and 21st, 2019. Second interviews were held in October, and we hope that the SSI-2 will be filled in the near future. 2 new manager positions were approved beginning July 1, 2019 for complaint intake and probation as well. The complaint intake manager position was advertised in September, and first interviews have been held for that position. The probation manager position was advertised on September 24th, and those first interviews were also held. The second interviews are scheduled for next week. We hope that these manager positions will be filled shortly. This proposal is was brought to the committee as a result of the restructure of the Enforcement Division, and the staff recommendations are as follows. An agenda item for all Enforcement Division statistics broken out by each area of expertise. Updates will be given from each of the new deputy chiefs, which will be 3, and issues involving all of the Enforcement Division will be presented by the Enforcement Chief. And this is for information only. That concludes 9.4.
Any questions from the public? Comments from the audience? None? Thank you, Stacy.
Item 9.5, discussion and possible action, recommendation to change name of committee from Intervention Discipline Committee to the Enforcement Intervention Committee. Enforcement has undergone tremendous change over the past 12 years. There has been an increase in staffing from 18 positions in 2007 to 94 in 2019, which is a 422% increase in staffing levels. In 2007, the enforcement consisted of discipline, probation, and the diversion program, which is now the intervention program. Since then, new units have been added to include 2 complaint intake units, 2 probation units, 3 BRN investigation units, a cite and fine team, and a legal support team. While the current committee name was appropriate in 2007, enforcement has worked extremely hard and made remarkable strides to improve business processes and decrease case processing timeframes. Enforcement leadership made a recommendation to the IDC to rename the Intervention Discipline Committee as the Enforcement Committee to fully recognize all areas of enforcement. The Intervention Discipline Committee discussed the staff recommendations at the October 2019 meeting. The IDC felt that the committee name should continue to include the intervention program and makes the following recommendation to the board. Rename the Intervention Discipline Committee as the Enforcement Intervention Committee to fully recognize all areas of enforcement.
Any questions from the board? How about any comments from the audience? Okay. Do you have a motion? Yes, I make a motion to approve the new name to Enforcement Intervention.
I'll second that.
I'll call for the vote. I'm sorry, any public comments? Okay, let's start with Ken here.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Ceja Butkowitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 9.6, vote on whether to accept the 2020-2021 Intervention Discipline Goals and Objectives draft. Attached, you will find the proposed enforcement goals and objectives for 2020-2021 based on the Board of Registered Nursing Strategic Plan for 2018 to 2021. The chart provides a status for each of the objectives to meet the goals. Staff is open to any recommendations or suggestions regarding the content or the format.
Is there any comments from the board?
I just want to say I love the format. I especially like the color coordination.
Is there any comments from the audience?
I make a recommendation that we accept.
And I'll second that motion.
Public comment?
Call for the vote.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Imelda Ceja Butkowitz, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
I would just like to state one more thing for the discipline unit. So with CPEI guidelines, we're required to have our cases 540 days completed from beginning to end, the cases that are referred to the AG's office. And this last quarter for fiscal year 20 of quarter 1, we were able to knock 60 days off of our timeframes, and we're down to 595 days to complete a case. So I just wanted to make that known. Our staff has worked really hard to get there, and I foresee our numbers to continue to decrease.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, and the board extends a great amount of gratitude for all the hard work you and your team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please get that back to all the members of your team. It's been an awesome year.
All right. Moving along to item 10.0. Since Betty wasn't here, I'll take care of this. Thank you very much.
There. Perfect. This is a request from a subcommittee of the board, and it is the nurse midwifery group. And BJ Snell put forward an idea with her group to amend the Nurse Practice Act in sections 2746.51 and 2746.52. This is a request for the board to sponsor a bill, bottom line. So at the practice committee meeting, the chair, President, and Trandy Phillips asked that this be taken back to the practice committee. But I need some direction in terms of the direction to go in the practice committee with this request. We are going to ask that the organizations that are the Association of Nurse Midwifery Association provide information, and that we also would like the Home Birth Association to provide information. But the request through BJ was to have a bill. So I'm stumbling because I want to be plain that what the board wants. And so that's my question, is we can look at these two issues, receive information, but it was my understanding, Board President, that we were not interested in doing that. So just some direction would be helpful.
You know, the board, we didn't, we supported the
concept of changes?
Concept of changes, but we don't have the resource nor the staff to carry in the individual associations' bills or sponsor their bills. We're happy to support them, but we don't have the resources for that nor the staff.
I appreciate the answer. I have to forward that on to BJ because she's going to come back to the practice committee, and we will ask these associations who may or may not have the ability. I don't know if the midwifery
We wanted to give BJ an opportunity for her to go and meet with those individuals.
Okay.
Not us, her.
Not her, okay.
Her the opportunity to go meet with those individuals and see if they wanted to sponsor a bill.
Thank you.
Jeanette, do you know if she's done
Board is
that
taking
at all?
no action on
She has not done that. No, she's the force for having this done.
I understand that.
Okay.
But other than bringing it to us, she hasn't done anything else around it?
No.
I don't believe so.
So the
I'll
board
check
is-
it.
So the board is not taking any action on this at this time?
No.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
That concludes the report on the Nurses Practice Committee. So what agenda items do we have?
We've got 4. So report on board member.
We already did that one.
Oh, okay. 5.
No.
And then 6.2 and 6.3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on. Last but not least, well, it's not last. We've been waiting anxiously for the report of the executive officer report. Item 5.0.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll make my report concise as much as possible and simplified. If for a copy of the report, you can also go to the board's website and click on the executive officer report to see the report in more detail. So 5.1, organizational update. The board continues to review its internal business processes and make the necessary changes accordingly. The employment opportunities are now in process of being posted to the board's website. The board's staff has been working very closely with the Department of Consumer Affairs, Human Resource Department, to make sure that the process moves as swiftly and as efficient as possible. So within the next week or so, we request that if you know of someone that's looking for an opportunity with the board, to visit the board's website and click on the tab that says job openings to learn more about the opportunities at the BRN. We are also excited about updates to our website and more information. There's also a regulations section under the board website that is now active and up to date, reflecting the chronological order and status of approved regulations. So once the board notices any new regulations, the information will be posted to this section of the board's website. So we also encourage you to take note of that as well. In addition to the regular regulations updates, there's also a section on the board website that's entitled Military Resources. The Military Resources section provides information for military members and their families seeking information regarding the licensing process. For more information, we ask you also go to the board's website. In my report, there's a picture of the icon that says Military Resources that a licensee and or their family members can click on to learn more information regarding.
Thank you for the military resource button, Dr. Morris. You know, I directed a couple of people to the website.
Yes.
And they're happy about this now.
Thank you.
And a point of personal privilege right now, we'd like to wish all the veterans a happy Veterans Day this past week, you know. And if any board members or anybody in the audience served in the military, you know, happy Veterans Day. Is there anybody? Happy Veterans Day.
Yes.
Who else? Happy Veterans Day. What were you, Navy nurse or something? Air Force nurse? Me too. I was first tanks on the Tarawa. You know, that was the old school Marine Corps before they started making you wear a name tag on your shirt.
Well, with that being said, that updates for you. and you and all of you. So we are excited about many of the updates that the board has implemented over the years. So moving on to outreach efforts. The board has completed the layout and design of the second issue of the BRN report. The staff worked very closely with the Department of Consumer Affairs Marketing and Communications Department to assist with the design and production of this magazine. PCI will continue to distribute the magazine and its constituents throughout the entire state of California, and every state within the United States also gets a copy of this report. The anticipated release of the magazine is late November. A digital copy can also be downloaded via the board's website by clicking on the link that's in my report, or you can visit the board's website under the What's New location and click on the summer 2019 edition of the BRN report for the previous edition. The Enforcement Division remains extremely proactive. As I previously stated in my reports, we're doing outreach. They continue to provide enforcement presentations, not only at academic institutions, but also clinical agencies throughout the state. As the board continues its outreach efforts, it is our hope to have a positive impact on educating nurses regarding the overall mission of the board, which is to serve and protect the public. Constituents that are interested in viewing the BRN's enforcement performance measures can access the online portal via the BRN website. The DC Enforcement Performance Measurement is a tool similar to the Tableau, what you saw today. However, these are the historical enforcement performance measures, and that link is currently active on the website. So if you were to go to the board's website and click on the What's New links or What's Hot, and you will see the BRN enforcement measures, and you can and it's a very interactive tool, similar, again, to Tableau. As previously stated by Lizo in her report to the board, the annual school survey is now available online. The BRN contracts with UCSF to collect data annually regarding the nursing programs, faculty, and students. For more information, we ask that you visit the board's website regarding the annual school survey. Moving on to 5.3, the public records request. The board continues to comply with the public records request and respond within the required timeframes that are set in Government Code Section 6250. For the period of September 5, 2019 to November 5th or 5, 2019, the board received 39 PRA requests. Moving on to 5.4. The board is in the process of rebranding its image by adopting a new logo. This has been a long time coming. I know Mr. Jackson has expressed this over the last 3 years at least, wanting to update and change the logo. So to assist with this process, the DCA Marketing drafted several logos for the BRN staff to select from. The logos were emailed to all staff to vote on their favorite illustration that represents the board's mission and values. And listed in my report are the 3 top choices selected by staff that will be presented before the board today for their vote. We thought, as the administrative executive team of the board, we thought it was important to get all staff's input so that they have some say-so in the branding as well. And the images here were really narrowed down from 16, I think it was 16 choices initially. 5.5, the budget update. The workload revenue and equipment schedules for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 have been completed and submitted to DCA Budget's office. These schedules are used to prepare the board's funds condition statement and revenue estimates that will be used by the Department of Finance in the preparation of the governor's budget. For a copy of the board's fund condition, please visit page 7 of my report. These figures are most current as of 11/1/2019. In regards to staffing, there are currently 24 positions which are actively being recruited for hire. Again, for more information regarding available positions, we ask that you visit the board's website. And that completes my report.
Dr. Morris, thank you for your report and all the hard work that you do for the board. We appreciate you.
Thank you. It's been as I look back over the last year, it's been a not only rewarding year, but the board has made significant changes, and we're looking for a bright new year in 2020. Making more accomplishments.
Offer you these 3 plaques.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to start the new year off with a new look. Hopefully a new attitude, and we really look forward to bridging the gaps with our community stakeholders. Okay. So, Mr. President, let's move on to the next
item 6.1.
6.0. Let's vote on it.
It's the board members. We have the 3 logos here, as you could see. They're also listed on the website.
Well, they're inside my EO report.
And they're inside the EO report. I don't know what the other board members think. I do like this one right here, but I'd like to make this a diamond, and I'd like to make a suggestion that a bear for the state of California be put in here as a watermark to identify the state. We can send that back to the drawing board.
To look at.
To look at, because I looked at Texas, I looked at Florida, I looked at Pennsylvania and New York, and they all have something with a little bit of the state, identifying the state within the logo. I don't know if the other board members think.
To ask, what is a lamp for? Lauren Nightingale?
Florence Nightingale.
Yeah. So if you're not a nurse, I guess you wouldn't really know, and they'll say, what's that for?
Have a chance to tell them.
Yeah. So make a wish, I don't know. But I like this one.
Florence Nightingale was considered the.
Doesn't even look like a nice bird.
Florence Nightingale was considered the mother of
Right.
modern day nursing, and she was the lady of the lamp.
Yes.
Again, as we make the decision, remember this also, we sent this out to all staff within the BRN, and this is what they decided as well. So we wanted to make sure we got, and these are the top three that they voted on.
Michael, I'd like to agree with you. If we go with the logo, which is the one I happen to prefer too, which is the triangular one with the BRN and the lamp, if we could get the symbol of California on there, I think it would be more appropriate if they could fit that in there.
I guess you can tell who the public member is.
You could have it at the bottom.
Yeah, there must be a place they could put that, because we need our state symbol.
Back to marketing, and they can draw up some illustrations to present at
The administrative committee, if we determine which logo we liked, since that's going to be a small part, could we defer that? And you've got a short timeline. Could the administrative committee make the final decision after that's included if we do that?
I have a
Just
question.
thought.
Dr. Morris, these are the top three.
Yes.
And how were they listed in priority in voting ones?
Well, why don't we do that? We can do that. Why don't we start with the?
No.
Asking from your
You
staff
said
perspective.
staff recommended these three.
Yes.
I'm sure they weren't even. What is the priority? Which was the top?
You know, I don't have those numbers with me. I can get those to you, Ken.
All right then. I vote that we accept this one, and the one that the audience seems to like too.
Second diamond.
Diamond.
Let's see a show of hands. That's what we should do.
Hey, you want to get them involved too?
Yeah.
Let's get the audience involved. That'd be fun.
Audience?
Hey.
Show hands?
No, you can't do that right
Doesn't
now.
matter what they.
Board action. I make a recommendation for the diamond.
I'll second it.
Now, is there any public comment related to the diamond?
One hand.
Anybody wants to make any public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Or against? Any?
Well, I would like to make a comment for, because I would like us not to take nursing out of the Board of Registered Nursing.
There. And I like to include the bear because we are the largest, most powerful board in the country. And it represents it's the state animal for California. It's on the flag.
Not only that, if we're not the biggest, we're one of the largest in the world, our nursing licensing board.
Okay, let's do a vote.
Okay.
Yeah, how many people know it's the bear or the lamp?
The lamp, it has to stay.
If you've never visited the Capitol,
Nightingale, come on.
Sorry, we do know the lamp.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
well, I know the lamp, but I'm just thinking about the general public.
All right, let's vote.
so there's no other public comment? That you have to have the bear in the real ID. All right. Bear, I make a recommendation
That with the bear.
that we accept this one with the bear included
Yes.
If it can be done.
Yeah, I second it.
and add bear as a watermark or in the background.
Okay, once the board votes, then we'll
Seeing no public comment, I call
take
for
that
the
back to
vote.
the committee.
Marlboro, yes.
Imelda, no.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. At least I didn't say include the Eagle Globe and Anchor.
Can I take
All right.
this one home?
Yes, you can have that one, Imelda.
Moving on to item 6.3, this is informational only, the BRN survey report, and it's listed on the website. It was also included in Dr. Morris's report. And as you heard before, the new tableau is available.
And then 6.1.
That's it.
So then we've got the one that was
No, that's
Joanne
it.
Spatz.
She's gone.
Lizo kind of covered them.
Oh, okay, so we're good on that. Right now.
That's it.
11, and 11.0.
Item 11.0, and any public comments for items not on the agenda, items for future agenda items? Seeing none, the meeting is adjourned before 1:30. Thank you very much.